Right, we are live. Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome back to the Kiwi Lads channel. We are back for another match of Super Rugby Pacific, the last one on day two of the Super Round in Melbourne, coming to us live from AAMI Park. This one's a big one. The Fijian Drua taking on the Waratahs. Now, the interesting stat that I have for you guys is in the win predictor that Super Rugby posted a little bit earlier on, it showed that the Fijian Drua were 1% likely to win this match. Now, that's not a very high percentage for a side that are about as unpredictable of a side as a rugby union team can come. So I have a feeling this game's going to be a lot closer than a lot of people have first anticipated. And I think the draw are really going to bring it for this matchup. But the Waratahs, they've got a strong side, physical in the forwards, which is exactly what they need when they are going head to head with these flying Fijians. Looking through, first of all, at the Fijian Drua side, they will be as follows. It will be Tiko Ikanaveri and Tawake as the front row. Now, Sila will be at 4. Rotuisolia, will be at number 5. Joe Tamani at 6. Salawa at number 7. And then the big man, T. Ahuaru Thorikata Vita. Now, he was pretty decent last week. Always plays well for Tasman. I believe this game will be no different up against the Tars. Frank Lamani and Caleb Muntz. Bit of a change there. Last week, they did have Lamani starting. But instead at 10, it was Tite Teller. They've decided Muntz might be the man for the job for this one. Ravovo, he was impressive last week. And the man on his outside, Asefo Masi, on debut, certainly showing he's got a bright future for the Fijian Drua. Out on one wing, Samo Vorre, out on the other, Ravatamara. And then at number 15, the ex-Reds player, it is going to be Eliza Drua Sisi to close out the Fijian starting lineup. Then for the Waratahs, they will be as follows: Lambert, Pareki, and Archer Holes. The front row, Jed Holloway and Hugh Sinclair. Then as the locks, Lockie Swinton, Michael Hooper. He'll be dangerous in this game because you know he's going to put his body on the line in the breakdowns. The only problem is, if he puts his body on the line, there's going to be a Fijian Drua player right there trying to whack him out of the way. And then Langy Gleeson, he will be there at number 8 to close out the Waratahs four-back. Jake Gordon at 9 with Tane Edmund at 10, Lalakai Fakiri and Isaiah Parisi seems to be the combination that they will be going with a majority of this season. Jorgensen last week out on the wing was extremely impressive, alongside also a very talented Noah Kwanetawasi out on the other wing, and then Ben Donaldson to close out the forward or the whole side for the Waratahs. We have got Sup from Tahana and Let's Go the Drua, and Tavita said, Go the Drua, you're going to win in morning. Love these Super Rugby early mornings and 5:30 a.m. starts. Jeez, it's a bit early for yourself for this matchup. Now, you're going to have to remind me whereabouts you are. Is it you're in Canada? Is that where you are? Ken, do let me know. It's currently 9:33 p.m. here in New Zealand. I'm just going to quickly check the odds. Like I mentioned, no one is giving the Fijians a chance in this game, yet the TAB actually have them as only $3.10 underdogs. So I think that's a lot more likely than a 99% chance for the Waratahs to win this game if the Blues win tomorrow. Hopefully they only get 4 points to get my Chiefs top of the table, says November Mama in the UK, says Kian there. And can live it to me. Sadly, due to licensing, we're unable to show match footage or audio, but we will be covering this game with the live commentary of our own without any copyright being infringed. It looked like the Waratahs are going to line up here to face off with the Fijian Drua, who will be performing their pre-match rituals to get them fired up and ready to go for this match. And while they are doing so, we might as well show you guys the benches for the Fijian Drua: Togiatama Natave, and also Uria Kepa at number 18, Tui Whangalili at number 19 with Thanakai Vata. He did make his debut last week. He's a name well known in the 7 circuit. I think he could have a very impressive rugby union career if he does stick with it for long enough. Matawalu, the replacement, number 9. Tite Teller, like I mentioned in the starting lineup last week, came off the bench this week. And Rakuro, man who made his debut last week, another chance for him at number 23. Then for the Waratahs, Latu, Faulkner, and Bota as the front row, Sue and Will Harris. Will Harris not being in the starting lineup alongside Charlie Gamble just shows the depth that the Waratahs now have in that loose forward trio. Those two easily could have been starters, but instead they've gone with Swinton and Langy Gleeson as their 2 options there. So a lot of power coming off the bench, which might be exactly what the Waratahs need near the end of the game. Also Goddard at number 22, and then Dowling to close out the Waratahs side. Looking at the table, the way that it sits now, this is an updated table. other than the Chiefs games. The Chiefs are now sitting at the top of the bunch on the 10 points. The Hurricanes sitting just behind them on 9. Blues sitting on 5. They've got a game to come. The Crusaders have already played. And the Force also, alongside the Brumbies, have a game to come in the near future as well. We have got there, how can I watch from the USA Flow Rugby? Maybe Flow Rugby. I think they might have the licensing for the Super Rugby competition. If not, I believe there is a website for Super Rugby Pacific that I think you can sign up for. That might be the URC and replay it on a Rugby Challenge 4, Bunnies or the Sharks, says Tahana. I mean, the Rabbitohs normally start pretty decent in an NRL season, but the Sharks are a tough side. Cannot be underestimated. But the Fijian Drua, like I mentioned, pre-match rituals taking place, facing off with the Waratahs, a side that do not want to get beaten when they are playing in Australia, whether it's home soil or anywhere. The Waratahs will be up for the fight. They had a decent showing last week, although it was just a little bit more one-sided. My mum is waving flat out to me. I'm not sure what she did. Oh, you're about to turn the light off. No, it's still good. See you later. Fijian Drua lining up and looking all of the Waratahs players square in the eyes, saying we're not going to be intimidated. Last week they had an absolutely brilliant last-minute victory over Moana Pacifica, 36 points to 34, and they want to do it again. Waratahs last week, they went head-to-head up against the... Who'd they end up playing in the end, in fact, now that I think about it? They didn't play the Reds. They didn't play the Western Force. They played up against the Chiefs. Did they play the Chiefs? No. Chiefs played Crusaders. Highlanders played the Blues. I'm missing one side, and that is the side that ended up playing the Waratahs. Moana Pacifica versus Fijian Drua. Blues versus Highlanders. Crusaders versus Chiefs. Western Force versus Rebels. Was it the Reds? No, the Hurricanes. The Hurricanes play the Waratahs. I thought the Hurricanes played the Reds in the first round. Have I gained a team from somewhere? Where'd the Hurricanes come from? Must be nice for Nadolo to watch his own team or national team lay down the challenge. So no, nothing major. Brumbies. Ah, yes. That's the other team in the comp. The Brumbies. Sorry, I completely forgot the Brumbies. They are playing tomorrow up against the Blues, of course. Yeah, so the Brumbies, they're the ones I was looking for. Now it's going to be the kickoff in this matchup. It will be the Waratahs going from left to right as the camera looks now, but I believe it will then become right to left in this matchup. Fijian Drua taking in nicely in the deep side of their own 22, and now Frank Lamani looks to put up the box kick early. Down the wing, looking for some extra meters. Looks like he's going to chase this one extremely hard as well, and actually almost got to the ball. This is winger Ravovo. Ravatamada, in fact. Now Jake Gordon going to the right-hand side, and the Waratahs will have to be concentrated on keeping possession in this game. Here comes Langy Gleeson up to the halfway line. Good tackle made low by Osefo Masi. And like I mentioned, he had a very good first matchup for the Fijian Drua. Massive shots being put on Tane Edmund, driven backwards. Might have been a double hand push there from Ravatamada on Jorgensen. Ball bounces free again. Waratahs lost 50 meters in that one play, just with continuous charge downs and loose balls ending up not quite sitting up the way they wanted. The Fijian Drua now in possession. Kick it downfield. Nicely controlled. The back by Ben Donaldson, who will return fire back to the 22. And it seems like this game is the one that the crowd have really started to get behind. Caleb Muntz puts the ball high. Another take for Namakwanina Wasi. Kicks it in behind. Nicely controlled now by the number 15 for the Fijian Drua, Izoa or Isaiah Drua Sisi. Kick across again, Gordon. Will kick for touch, and that ball does go out this time. It's a good kick downfield. Either side wanted that play to stop by the looks of that. And so nothing major was said to Artie. I was just called bitch or something small like that, says Sam. So could you hear the other guy on the microphone? Sam, and the Brumbies, says Kiwi John. And Hurdy and Foster stepping down as New Zealand coach too. He is after the World Cup by the sounds of it. Tavita Ikanaveri throws the ball in, nicely taken by the Drua. Lamani goes across the first receiver. Muntz now Ravovo in the midfield, trying to make those few extra meters. The momentum on the side of the Drua early. Like I mentioned in the win predictor that Super Rugby did, they showed that there was a 99% chance the Waratahs win this game. And I find that extremely wrong for the Fijian Drua, because even if they lose this game, I don't think they'll lose it by much. I asked one of the players, says Sam, did you ask a Rebels player or a Hurricanes player? That's going to be now a penalty in favour of the Waratahs player joining the side of the breakdown. And I was surprised only 4% picking a draw, says Elon. There as well. But I guess that's because for the draw, they then have to play the extra 10 or 15 minutes. And then after that, it's considered a draw if no one gets it in the designated time for the golden point. Hurricanes, but legit, says Sam. And damn it, Hammy, you ended up watching this too late. The little one is on the TV, says the snooze. Yeah, it's going to be an exciting game. We've already seen some big hits being put in by the likes of a Langy Gleeson, who was rushing up to tackle Ravovo there. That's actually what half by caused the penalty. And I believe it was Salawa who's been penalised for going in through the side. Now 40 metres out. And also, Hamish, you flew from home to Melbourne in a flash. WTF, says Elon. Very good service indeed. Just got the airport in the backyard. Steamrolled over. Unless I'm on a plane with a green screen, that would make no sense to have a plane on a green screen or the other way around. Green screen on a plane to go to a game that will be over by the time I got there. The kick is unsuccessful. 14, Edmund ended up hooking it away a little bit to the left. And it will make the score remain at 0-0 between these two sides after 4 minutes. Just mentioned that Tane Edmund last week didn't really go that flash with his kicking last week. Same can be said about, I thought it was Tete Teller doing the kicking, but he's no longer out on the field. Instead, it's Caleb Munst. So perhaps it could be quite a big difference. And Gleeson Dan, that was a hit. Says straight to Spores. It sure was. Ended up driving him backwards nicely. Jake Gordon now ball on the outside. Quick hands. Here come that midfield combo of Lalakai Faketi. Almost ended up juggling it. But looks like Fijian Drua over the ball. That was Frank Lamani that time. They managed to get the penalty. Sam, are you related to Kate? If so, I'd like to get to know her. Set a man up, champ. Says, and it was Elon, of course, referring to Kate Beckinsale. And when Willie resigned, and Hamish, how's it going? Going very well, Cody. Hope you are well too. That kick has not found touch from the Fijian Drua. And now Donaldson will kick it high. Nicely taken by Drua Sisi. Now Frank Lamani thought about going through. He's going to be smashed in the tackle, though, by Hugh Sinclair. Quickly recycled. Drua Sisi flicks out the back. Now gives it off to Samu Tuake, the big number 3, the tight head prop for the Fijian Drua. Seems like they're just going to be using these forwards at the moment for Fijian Drua, not risking too much. Now Salawa finds the offload, nicely taken by Joe Tamani inside border. Ravatamata looks for it, ends up throwing the ball away to the Waratahs, but he is driven into touch. Does mean that the Fijian Drua will end up with the line out. How's the Macca's Fund for? Just you distracted. Just the $3 that you did donate earlier on the live stream. It will get us the extra cheese and the piece of chicken in it, though. So that is good news. Have you heard of AFL? I have. I've heard of the Aussie Football League. Been to a couple games in the past as well. This will be a complete rugby pack weekend for the Kiwi lads. A majority anyway, because all the test matches are all over already. Everyone's decided that they want to have 2 and 3 day test matches rather than a 5-dayer. Now, Lamani was looping around for that pass from Salawa. Now goes out to Ravatamata. Goes down the middle of the field. It's going to sit up quite nicely for Ben Donaldson, or is it? No, it's going to run away from him a little bit. Almost had the knock on, but managed to regather. Now, big shot on Namakwanita Wasi. He would have felt that one, and it's going to be the advantage as well. They may even consider going upstairs. No, it's actually for the advantage in the breakdown. Oh, shot. That was a massive hit from the Fijians again. Now, Jed Holloway. Space on the outside for the youngster Jorgensen, who did actually have a very good game last week. Returns fire with the boot. Nicely taken. Neither side want this game to stop, and I feel like this pace is going to be very hard on both of these sides when it comes to their stamina later on. Isaiah Parisi finds the offload to Namakonendawasi again. Now does the fend almost through. Doesn't quite get it, though. Up to 25 metres out from the line. Gordon going to the left now. Dave Parecki. First real chance for the hooker of the Tars. Gordon goes to Sinclair now, almost through. Fiji Drua so far. It seems like their defense is holding up. Now short ball. Man, that's a big hit. Like just for a stock standard tackle, there's still a big old smack that you can hear around the ground. From another big shot put in, this time from Tavera Ikanaveri. Gordon goes back now to Donaldson lined up, but they've found the ball wide. Jorgensen now. Another big shot on him by Ravatamata. Any of these players going to be walking by the end of the game? Langy Gleeson looking for the offload, doesn't find it. He was almost in touch. In fact, he was. And it's now going to be another line out for the Drua. And the crowd has certainly come alive in this matchup with all the big hits and smashing shots. She can hardly watch. She's almost got her hands over her eyes. Langy Gleeson taking some deep breaths. I feel like he's going to return the favour soon. You still awake, Cammy? Hello on already. There's Spider-Mick. Welcome in. Big Super Rugby this for the Aussies. Got to play well. Eddie will start with his own fresh page. Says Elon. Hello, says Tahana. And thinking it'll be if I put the 32 back in the lounge, but I might crack that too. Damn it, Hammy, says the snooze. Man, this looks like it's going to be a damn physical game for the Tars, says Scutsman. Yeah, if they walk away from this game with 0 injuries, I would be hugely surprised. And also, we all know these days that one missed kick could win or lose a match at full time. Very true. We've seen it in the past. Oh. And Jordan Wade just saying they weren't quite ready for that line out, so they got to do it again. And come on, the Tars, said Zed Vogel. Now, the Fijian Drua, you're in that scenario. Do you do the exact same line out or do you double bluff and go to a different one? Some players taking some deep breaths, and not so much because they're tired, just because they've taken some huge shots to their rib cages, trying to make sure they're all still there. Almost stolen by Holloway. Bounces back Lamani with the loose ball. It's going to be a knock-on advantage in favour of the Waratahs. They'll go back for that scrum. Come on, the Tars. Says Adam, what team do you think will be in the final? I think it's definitely going to be at least one New Zealand team, whether that is Crusaders, Blues, or Chiefs at the moment. They are my 3 front runners. And alongside them, probably one of those other 2 sides that I mentioned. I think it's probably out of those 3, just as we currently sit. Big shot on Michael Hooper as well a little bit earlier on. Every single shot from the Fijian Drua has been massive so far throughout this matchup. Like they've said, just okay timing-wise. Could get you yellow if they wait another second before doing that, but it does seem like it will just be play on for now. But Tony, we'll ask you the question, who are you picking to win this game? What's your halftime score prediction? See how close you do end up getting. How much you got to work? Checking in with you and your commentary. Waratahs to win, not big margin, says Roof. And also we have got their Rupini was special, says Elon. And also they do those hit and end up losing a big hit, take everything out of you, says Spider Mech. It can. But you wonder whether or not it's an early tactic to maybe make the Waratahs hesitate when they are passing that ball. Got to try and find the weaknesses in the side, and anyone who doesn't like getting a big hit on them, you'll see straight away because they'll try and offload that ball extremely quickly. Something like we used to see a little bit at times with Quade Cooper, just to throw a name out there. He used to have a lot of pressure on him. Players would charge at him, and then he'd panic and pass the ball. And then that's when that interception comes and the try for the opposition can happen. At the moment, the Waratahs, they're only 5 meters out from the Drua's line. Very good position to be able to attack from here. Jake Gordon feeds the ball in. Langy Gleeson pops it up off the back. Gordon now goes to Edmund, short ball to Isaiah Perezi, meter short. And Jake Gordon now looks like he's going to be going off to the right-hand side. Jed Holloway close. He's turned onto his back. Ball still available. Short ball. The number 1 Archer holes. Now across again. Still 1 meter away. Gordon to the left. Holloway ends up facing backwards, and due to that, driven back 3 meters by the Drua to the left-hand side. Now Lalakai Fageti goes himself, tries to spin, almost went up and win again. That's going to be Dave Parecki, normally known for scoring the tries off a rolling maul. This time, just ends up with the pick and go around the side of the breakdown. Saw it early, and the Waratahs will be the first team to strike in this contest. Also, this carrot cake is very moist, says Cousin Novmum. And Jake Gordon, the man with 2 first names, says Elon. I wonder if he's one of the only players out there with that scenario. Could you say Edmonds? No, Edmonds not really a front Or first name, is it? He's probably special. Hooper? Could Hooper be a first name? Cooper is, but maybe not Hooper. And do we have any English players or Irish players playing? Not too many overall in this matchup. I think it's very limited in these two sides with their overseas internationals. They seem to like to stick to that Aussie talent that they have got. Dave Parecki just having a bit of a conversation with the rest of his team. Deep breaths being taken for Tane Edmund. Probability of this kick going over is 58%. Having a chat to the ball, just trying to tell it should go over, and it has, so it must have worked. Whatever he said to it, the ball listened. It's going to be now 7-0 for the Waratahs after the first 11 minutes. Daniel Carter says Elon, and with that try being scored, the Fijian Drua, they popped themselves up to a $4.80 underdog margin now, ladies and gentlemen, for anyone wondering about the odds and how they do sit throughout this contest, which means they're not out of this contest at all. If they score the next try, they'll have a real good crack of being able to score another one. Kicked off long to the 22. Ben Donaldson takes it nicely. Kicks it into touch. Considering taking it quickly for the draw, and they certainly do. Slips over there. Caleb Muntz finds the offload, though, to keep this ball alive, deciding it's safer than a line out. That looked a bit high from Lockie Swinton, but the question was he falling? The referee for now says play on. Was it a high tackle? Was it a knock on? We're about to find out at some stage when we have a stoppage. But for now, the Drua is still going to be on attack. I do see Penny Matawalu out there on the field, maybe replacing Frank Lamani with some sort of injury. Now, wide cutout pass goes to Jed Holloway with the chip and chase. Looks like it's not going to turn out too badly either. Almost into touch. Drua Sisi has to spin. He's done the grubber. He's kicked it into touch. Puts his hand up, apologizes to his team, and now it's going to be a Waratahs line out inside of the Drua's 22. And Lewis Liner is an interesting one, eligible for Aussie, Italy, and England. Whereas brother Tom is just Italy and Australia, I believe. There's Kian. And is that guy's name Caleb Munt? Not quite. Caleb Muntzer with a Z on the end. Where Georgie boy, he has gone home, but he will be returning for some of the live streams tomorrow that we have got coming up. And Toso Drua Toso, there's Mr. Billy, and Toso Drua, the Naka host. There's Joseph. Welcome in, mate. Hope you are doing very well. The Drua side of their 22, but winning the line out. Now looking to build down the field. They don't often like going back into the pocket and kicking away the ball. And with a kick like that from Muntz, you can kind of understand why. Although it's gone up, it's going to be slapped back by the Waratahs. Advantage for the Drua. Sorry, advantage to the Waratahs, and now it will be the scrum feed for the slightly closer to home side. Isn't Sam Whitelock English? Says Roof, is he? I did not know that if that's the case. Yes, Dan Carter, the best. The Matine ever, sorry. And what is the lineup for which team, Connor? Are you interested in both team or just the one? And what matches do we have tomorrow? We are going to be doing the matchups of the sevens. We've got the first game between Fiji and Great Britain. That will be at about 9:50 a.m. New Zealand time, maybe a little bit earlier. Then we've also got South Africa versus Argentina, followed by New Zealand versus Samoa. And then Super Rugby matches and a few other quarterfinal matches thrown in there as well for the sevens. That's the plan anyway. So what happened this time? I just got the TV back. I just got to take 10 before I see this match. Says a snooze. So far we've seen the Waratahs. They put on a lot of pressure on the Drua early. We're starting to see a few more errors creeping into the Drua's game, but still with that physicality, have a good old chance of doing very well. So both teams, we will put them up again. So for the Fijian Drua players to watch out for, I mean, we haven't seen too much of Tia Ahuaru Thorikatavita as of yet, but certainly watch out for that man at number 8. Gravovo in the midfield was very strong last week. We've already seen Lamani go off the field, and that is to be replaced by Penny Matawalu, the man that they're showing here, Ravatamata, also ending up with the ball quite a bit throughout the early stages of the matchup. Then for the Waratahs, that loose forward trio looking very strong at the moment. Langy Gleeson, the talking point of those three. Well, that's going to be a knock-on, and now it's going to be a counter-attacking opportunity for the Fijian Drua. Drua Sisi with the ball, tackled by Edmund and Jorgensen, who's a long way off his wing. Oh, and the penalty. The Lockie Swinton going in. Player not rolling away, and the Fijian Drua end up with the penalty. Yeah, also that midfield combo of Fekete and Parisi, very handy for the Waratahs. Go the Drua, go, says Bua there. Do let me know your score predictions for this game, ladies and gentlemen. I don't know much about the Fijian Drua, as their team all Fijian homegrown players. Pretty much to an extent. A few of their players have gone overseas, found themselves success, and now have returned back now that the Drua has a side. Also, for one of the players off the bench, Thanakai Vata, he is in the 7 circuit. That is another place where the Fijians have found a few of their players from that 7 side. But a lot of these guys, not too many people know. And I feel like the way that the Drua play, soon people will start to know them. Here comes Te Awahu Turika Davita running forward. Another penalty goes to the Fijian Drua. And months is like 1940s, says Elon. And also, I know they're based, or obviously based in Fiji, says Ken. I don't know if they're actually based in Fiji, the Fijian Drua. I think they're still based in Australia, but they get the occasional home game now, which is great to see. Is this the same Drua that Ryan coached? Not sure who their coach is at the moment, to be honest, because they were a part of the NRC a while ago, and then they got upgraded to Super Rugby, where they were able to find, I guess, a little bit more funding and more opportunities for players from Fiji to get the chance. Lalakai Fageti ended up giving away that penalty, and the Fijian Drua now will have themselves the kick for the 3. Great job on the name pronunciations. Skaxman, thank you very much. I do practice them a lot for these player names. I don't want to get them wrong. I always spend plenty of time looking through, trying to work out how to pronounce them as close as I can. Waratahs to win 30 points to 33. Here's Connor. Yeah, good high-scoring game if that was the case. Lamont kicks the ball over for the Fijian Drua in their first kicking attempt of the game, and that will now make the score 7 points to 3 in favour of the Waratahs. Higuares are playing in Europe or still a partying World Cup win, says Elon. I want to say, I think they play in South America, the Higuares, at the moment. But a lot of the Argentine players have been spread out throughout France, throughout England. Not too many in Australia, but yeah, I'd say probably only one or so have made their way to Australia from Argentina, but the rest kind of take part in the top 14, whether that's, or the URC as well, the likes of Emiliano Boffelli, one who does play for Edinburgh. Looks like a counter ruck there from Michael Hooper, trying to get the turnover, wasn't able to do so. Ravovo now passing on the outside. Nice hands from Fiji. I think that was Te Awahu Turika Davita again. Busy early on. And over here is our big game 14 at Twickenham Quins versus Exeter. Knock on from the Drua. Equals a counter-attacking opportunity for the Tars. Hooper, outside ball to Fiketti. Thought about the pass to Edmund, goes himself, dragged down 10 metres out for the line. Gordon back across to the right, holds, goes to Lockie Swinton at his knees, taken out from underneath him. The Drua get the penalty, but I think one of their players has been almost knocked unconscious in the process. And Munster used their get-out-of-jail-free card. Yeah, they were at a close game. That is for sure. What team, Mark? No one Quineta Wasi plays for. He does play for the Waratahs. He's on the right wing side. Where's George? He's got that bubble wrap personality. He pops the assistant commentator spot. Says Russo, he has gone home. He's going to be getting back in tomorrow, though, for Blues versus Brumbies, I believe, is the one that he's going to be on for. Higuares was a concept that was never going to work, like the toilet paper comes out sheet by sheet when you press the button. There's Elon. Right, they're going to be checking this one for well, in fact, it's Tavita Ikanaviri. Did he end up wrapping his arms? That's no wrap. That's probably going to be a yellow card for Hone Tico there. Didn't really attempt to wrap the arms and instead just tried to chop out. Yeah, not enough of an arm wrap there for me. Don't forget there are few of the Argentinians playing Major League Rugby, especially Dallas Jackals. Hone Tico not happy. He's gone to the bin for 10 minutes. It's a kiss on the head from, I think that was Isaiah Parisi. Give him a kiss on the forehead on his way off, and come on the draw, says Viniana. And the Jaguars have split into 2 teams in the Super Rugby Americas tournament. Simon Hughes looks like they will be kicking this one for the corner now, the Waratahs, and with a man advantage, that is the last thing that the Drua needed to give the Waratahs, was that little bit of an advantage. And Tico, he's disappointed, but you got to wrap your arms when you're tackling low. Next to win Quins to lose today. There's Connor. Like I said, it's more for the player safety side more than anything. Going for the rolling maul now. Dave Parecki having a search for that ball. He's got it now at the back of the rolling maul. They've been told to use it twice. Parecki wants to break off and go himself. And in fact, he just might because Jake Gordon has let him. It's going to be wrestled down. Ball available. Gordon now goes to the short side. Quick hands. Jed Holloway may have just about got that one in the corner for the second try for the Waratahs. And that was your natural. There's Roof, and rumours are Finn Russell is getting sloshed this weekend in Sardinia. And good on him, I say, says Elon. Right, they're just going to check the grounding. I think the grounding's completely fine. It's the touch line that they're going to have a check off. Holloway doesn't seem completely convinced, but he also doesn't seem like he's not convinced. He's out. It's skittered the line there, I believe, so that will be no try. At least it should be anyway for the Waratahs. So the Fijians, they will slightly dodge the bullet, but they'll still have a 5-meter line out to deal with. Just there. I would say foot on the line. Because you see the turf get ripped a little bit as well. So I think that's going to be no try for Jed Holloway. I think there, the foot is on the line. Should be overall. What's the grounds conditions? It's starting to get a little bit roughed up, but that is just because they've had, this will be the 4th match of Super Rugby taking place from this location. So, yeah, it's still a little bit grippy at times. Like you see players getting their feet stuck in there and kind of coming to a halt. It's going to be no try. Now 5 meters out from their own line, the Drua will have to try and get this one right. Andoan Funamurva is in the gym, though. He lives there. It will be awesome to see Fiji win this one, says Elon. And it would be massive for them. It looks like they are actually going back for an original advantage anyway. So now it's going to be another line out here for the Waratahs. I should mention that the FIJIAN Drua currently find themselves as $11 underdogs with that yellow card and a possible try coming just around the corner. Jed Holloway knocks it back to Hugh Sinclair. Now Tane Edmund dragged down 15 meters out from the line. Hooper. Just say, so far we've seen a lot more structure coming from the Waratahs. Another penalty goes the way of the Drua. It's for crawling forward. Okay, I don't know where that 11 went because now it's $4.80. I just refreshed it. Swindon sounds English, says Ruth. I remember the controversy around his red card. He ended up getting a while ago in the Rugby Championship. I believe it was his debut, and he was just a little bit too excited. He ended up almost taking a player's head off. Oh. Okay, so the yellow card is just going to be a yellow card, they've said. They've run it through the TMO system. Now, in Super Rugby, they have got the option of upgrading to a red if they feel that it's a little bit too dangerous for the yellow, but no, they do stick with the yellow. So he'll be off the field for only another 8 minutes now. Nicely taken by the Drua. Now, in the midfield of Sefamasi. Dragged down well, 40 meters. Needing to work towards the halfway line. It is Thurika Davita again with the ball. Muntz goes off to Drua Sisi. Man, he's been busy throughout the first little while of this game. Nice work from Tuidraki Samosamovodre. Keep it in the field of play. Muntz waiting for this one again. Good low tackle made by the Waratahs. Currently, they sit on the halfway line. Muntz will go for the kick in behind. A little bit of a strategic one for the 50-22. Does it curve? Not quite. Brilliantly done by Ben Donaldson to watch that ball like a hawk. Make sure it didn't go out. Now Muntz, though, takes it nicely. Fires it across to Ravatamada, and he's certainly going to give it a crack at the line. Drua Sisi, little offload out the back to Tamani. Another pass to Samosamovodre again. The man's hardly had the ball in the first 20 minutes, and he's just touched it in the last kind of about 60 seconds twice. All available again for Matawalu. Goes to Muntz. Samosamovodre. Ball now wide to beautiful offload from Salawa. Looking for another one for the Drua, though. This is where they have to make sure they're not too aggressive and that they still make sure they're putting their phases together, because or else the turnover will be just around the corner. That will be a knock-on from the Drua, but they'll be going back for the original knock-on advantage for the Waratahs, and the Fijian Drua will get the scrum feed. Darcy Swain is a funny name. Probably why he's so aggressive. There's Elon. And which Black Caps jersey you like the most in cricket? I quite enjoy the one with the black and the blue. I think it's the ODI kit, if I'm not wrong. But, I mean, I quite like their test match kit as well. I'm considering getting one, but they are over $100 to get a test one. And question is, Ryan D's picked the potato hands, or picked of potato hands. Oh, sorry, Ryan D's picked hot potato hands. His team is good for it, says the snooze, but certainly plenty of support at the ground for the Fijian Drua. Everyone excited, hoping to see their side get a little bit further back into the match. They have put on Natave on the field. That is for Turika Davita, and the reason he has to go off is due to that yellow card. So that is actually quite a massive moment because he was playing well, getting those meters, and now not having him out there for the next 6 minutes. They'll certainly be annoyed with Hone Tiko to get himself that yellow card. Now the Drua with the scrum feed, still only 4 points down and a man down out there on the park for the next 6 minutes. Frank Lamani has made his way back out onto the field, so that is good news. I believe it was for an HIA assessment. It's going to be the free kick to the Fijian Drua, who will take the quick tap and get this game back underway. Ravovo, should he have kept on passing out the back line? Probably, but he decided to take contact instead. Oh, wow. That's physicality and a half there from Langy Gleeson, just flying up in the line and running into Tawake, the replacement. Now Frank Lamani had his hand slapped down. Michael Hooper jumps in, tried to join the breakdown from the Fijian Drua side. Probably lucky he pulled out of that one. Now nice pass. Caleb Muntz again. Being told to release him, and they do just that. Now Lamani. Oh, it's dropped cold by the replacement Lucia Prop. They'll be disappointed. And now the Waratahs with Michael Hooper gives it off to Swinton. Lost his footing, tries to find the flick. Back to Jake Gordon, who does manage to go through his legs to Donaldson. Now big run coming from Isaiah Parisi. Offload out the back to Nawan Kwanidawasi. Ball on the inside. It's going to be knocked on by the Waratahs. They're asking for a penalty for being dragged back, but I believe the ball was already dropped. And also, what is your view on Adi Savia's card, Hamish? Me too many snowflakes in the game. The Aussie commentators are a bunch of snowflakes as well, says Cameron. See, for me, like, yes, it's not ideal to be doing it, but I was also very curious to know what the halfback said to him that made him turn around. Now, someone earlier on was saying that they called him, we'll say the B word, but I don't think that would have been enough for Adi Savia to turn around and do what he did. I feel like there would have had to be something else behind it from the South African Rebels halfback. But people are going to be talking about it for a while. If Adi Savia gets the captaincy for the All Blacks, everyone's going to say, oh, he's not a role model because of the one thing that he's done, even though for like the last 10 years, he's been a very good role model for kids in the game of rugby, always playing with passion and respect. But yeah, something that was said was not approved by Savia's brain. And that makes me think it was something a little bit more than someone calling him a swear word. But I hope I'm wrong in that regard. Now Lamani going back into the pocket to Caleb Muntz. Puts it into touch. Now the Waratahs, they're still going to be under pressure. Did Muntz just dislocate his thumb from kicking that ball? Did he kick his thumb by... That what's just happened? Did he kick his thumb? Or was it from catching it? Or it might have been from catching it. Yeah, it might have been from the catch. Ended up bending the thumb back a little bit. I was going to say, if he somehow kicked his own thumb while kicking a ball, that's very impressive. And maybe didn't release it at the right time. Now the rolling ball starts up again. It's going to be the penalty there to the Fijian Drua. The catcher must stay attached, says Jordan Way. There's Apisalomi Vota on the reserves for the Drua. We will have a look through at the bench, but I know that he is not, unfortunately. I don't even know if he's still... Oh, that's the wrong one. I don't actually know if he's still in their side. He might have gone overseas, Apisalomi Vota. I'll have a quick Google while we've got a scrum coming down. Salomi Vota. Salomi Vota. Current team, it says he's at the Fijian Drua. No, he might not be the one that I thought he was, going away to a different team. So, yeah, he's not out there for this game, but we might see him in a future matchup. Like this. There we go. And that Savia's hand signal to one Rebel player's a piss up at his house after the game, says Spider Mick. Now thrown in by Ikanaveri. Nicely taken by the Drua. Lamani goes across to Muntz. Now Ravovo once again. He doesn't pass often. And Artie should remember this for for the next time they play and whoop his ass the next. I think it was a racial slur 100%, says Cameron. You see, like, it's got to be something slightly bad. And of course, we don't want to throw any accusations out. It could have been something really small that the guy said that Artie Savia was just frustrated. But, like, it's a weird reaction from a guy who's normally about the calmest guy out there on the park and always holds himself so highly. Like, something bad, I think, was said. And good three here says the snooze and the trick to get the opposition frustrated. Certainly it works. They didn't capitalize on it, says it. With 90 seconds left on their yellow card, there's a 3 points available here for the Drua if they do want it. It might not be a bad thing to take either. We'll use up more time on the clock. Almost get them back to the 15, which would involve Tiko getting to come back out onto the field, but maybe not for too long. They might decide at halftime, switch it to the other fella. Although the other fella did drop the ball, so maybe they'll keep Tiko out there for a bit longer. Alan Muntz now lining up this kick. Just looking closely at that clock. 1 minute left. Do you think the New Zealand Rugby Union is going to screw Razor over again? Pick Jamie Joseph? I mean, if they do, all Razor needs to really say is, yeah, all right, I'm going to Fiji or I'm going somewhere else where they'll actually respect me as a coach. Muntz has missed. Gone away to the left-hand side. Just hooked it a little bit. Tars running energy, says the snooze. 30 seconds left of the yellow. 12 minutes left of the first half. And the Drua still down by the 4 points. Rica Davita just trying to keep himself fresh. Won't be happy about having that spell because he was in some good form when he was out there on the park earlier on in the match. Now the goal line dropout from the Waratahs. Now it's going to be the goal line dropout, or sorry, the 22 dropout, which is a nicely taken by Fiji. Throw someone back at the line. It will be Joe Tamani this time, run straight at Archer holes. And also he actually ran at both props. And Bua said, want to watch the game. Your best bet, depending on where you are, is probably Super Rugby website. They'll let you know exactly where you can watch it, but I believe Sky Sport Pacific will be your best bet to be able to watch the game. Now, a nice step there from Osefa Masi. 25 metres out from the line for the Fijian Drua. Man, the Waratahs were up early there. That's got to be an advantage, and it is. Now, Lamani goes off to the right-hand side, almost able to skip his way through there. The elusive number 9 now around the side of the breakdown again, still under advantage. Lamani goes off to Tamani, who's put the ball down, and they'll go back for another penalty. Now, they'll be back to 15 here, so it's whether or not the Drua want to try and go for the corner or whether they do now take on the 3 points again and still be down by 1. I have a feeling they will. Razor goes to South Africa after and just stick it to them, says Cameron. Imagine if wherever Razor goes, he wins a World Cup. Like, that would really surely annoy New Zealand Rugby Union. It's kicked for the corner, so they have been willing to go that little bit more aggressive. And it looks like Rica Davita is returning to the field, but Tiko will not. And that might have been because he also may have suffered a concussion in the process of that tackle, and Mus has gone for the draw. Milk it, baby, says the snooze, and Fiji draw all the way, says Viniana. Also got Blues Nate in here. Welcome in, mate. Hope you are doing well. In the Verdi now. Throwing the ball in for the draw. Uncontested. Throws the ball back. And the Waratahs, they were ready to defend the rolling maul, which left the gap to the right-hand side. Lamani now going short ball. They need to make sure that their handling is on point here for Fiji if they want any chance of crossing that white line. Tamani gets closer. Lamani now goes off to the short side. Yeah, Tawake waiting. Now Lamani, Waikato pass. It's a knock on from the draw, but they'll go back for, okay. They've gone back for the penalty, and it looks like the referee is considering reaching for the pocket. What's the decision here? Too many penalties. The next one is going to be a yellow card. Have South Africa ever had a foreign Springbok head coach, says Moose? Not too sure. Assistant coaches, I believe, yes. But the head coach, I'm not sure. And now you know it's hot potato. Send him ref. No one's kicked for the touchline. Oh, the time wasn't on. Tell you what, Fiji, that was a great tactic, but they didn't get it to work because they might go for the cross kick here. No, in fact, they're going for the tap. Quickly taken. Now, beautiful play from Naviri running on the inside. 1 meter out for the line for the Drua. Looking to take the lead in this contest. Over he goes. The try is scored in the Drua in the 31st minute. I think it's Joe Tamani underneath the pile of bodies celebrating for the Drua. I'm good. Ready to go, boss. Storm is playing tonight. They are indeed. That will be the 1:30 p.m. or sorry, 1:30 a.m. game that we are covering on the channel. They will be playing up against the Sharks. Go the Drua. Yes, Drua. Tosso Drua. Says Mus. Does energy is waiting from overconfidence from respect. Says the snooze. Just willing to go a couple more phases out from the line. Michael Hooper had to try and move, avoid giving away that yellow card, and the Drua strike again. And Tosso Drua Tosso says Osefo. And yes, Tosso Drua Tosso says Mr. Billy, and hello, Arabua. Says Vinny there. That's going to be kicked over from Caleb Muntz. That will give the Fijian Drua now a 10-7 lead. I mentioned that they were $4 underdogs a bit earlier on. Now they are considered $2.25 underdogs in this contest. Like I mentioned, that poll that they did that gave the Fijian Drua a 1% chance of winning this game was absolutely crazy. Anyone who knows this Fijian Drua side knows that they will fight for every inch on that field that they can. And yes, in the end, they may not be successful, but they're still going to give you that 110%. This Fijian crowd is loud as this is in Melbourne. Imagine Fiji made a World Cup final. It would be absolutely incredible to see the support for the Fijians. In fact, it will be absolutely incredible seeing a game taking place in Fiji, which we are going to get to see next week in Lautoka between Fiji and the Crusaders. Dave Parecki now will the Waratahs. They've got the advantage 25 metres out from the Drua's line. Hugh Sinclair tries to spin, taken down low by Thurika Davita. Now Jed Holloway trying to break through one. Is unsuccessful though. Now Nawakwanita Wasi. Gordon goes across now to Holloway again. It seems like that is the tactic for the Waratahs. Use their props and use their locks. Isaiah Parisi now trying to break through, finds the offload up to Jake Gordon, now goes wide, out to Langy Gleeson, down the wing, breaks through one, Tamani gets him around the bootlaces though. Gordon again, goes off to Parecki, they're still under advantage, what a shot from Joe Tamani. In fact, I think it was Ravovo who just tried to rearrange Lockie Swinton's intestines with that shot. And also we have got there, Bulla says, Manasa, welcome in mate, hope you're doing well. Musa said, bro, do you ever sleep? You're going to watch the South African teams play the UK and European teams? I am, believe it or not. We always do late night live streams. Last weekend, I got 10 hours sleep over a 72-hour period, and we were live streaming for 30 to 35 hours of that allocated time. Or are they going to try and... Nope, they aren't going to say that Samatawaki did get him with the shoulder, so it will be a 5-meter line out for the Waratahs. Hello, Hamish. Thank you for the commentating, says Vinny. No worries at all, mate. It's good to see you again. And 1%, what was the betting on? I should have put some money on the draw. Well, interestingly enough, the TAB here in New Zealand had it $3.50 Fiji underdogs. But if it was done off Super Rugby's predictor with 99% going against the Drua, surely the odds should have been like $15 or something like that. Dave Parecki not very happy with the referee for saying that one was not straight. I don't know why he's not happy. It was a terrible throw. You can't quite believe it, but the Fijian Drua now will have themselves a scrum feed. Yeah, the draw's gone up from 4% to 6%. Common sense has prevailed, says Elon. And yes, wish them all the best, Rabula. And yes, draw all the way. Fiji to make the World Cup quarterfinals. Wouldn't it be something? They were able to beat Wales, beat Georgia, and beat, I believe the other side in their group might be Uruguay. But I could be wrong there. Might actually be Portugal, in fact, sorry. Now, Roman has got a lot of Fijian flags there. The penalty goes the way of the Drua. You can see the frustration on the face of the Waratahs. Every time a penalty goes against them, every time they drop the ball, the frustration just builds that little bit more, and that's what the Drua want. They want this Waratahs side playing out of frustration rather than playing with structure. I feel that that will certainly benefit the Fijian Drua, but Caleb Muntz kicks downfield into touch. I mentioned the next game that we are going to be covering on the channel, ladies and gentlemen, will be the matchup between the Sharks and the Stormers, taking place 1:30 a.m. New Zealand time. Anyone who does enjoy a bit of the URC, be sure to tune in for that one. And also hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. We have got plenty more rugby coming up. FIJIAN Drua, always entertaining to watch their games. Let's be real, Fiji is everyone's second favourite team, says Xavier. And it's just because they play with such passion and the fanciness of the moves that they do, whether that's the offloading game or that little bit of flair, just makes everyone fall in love with the way that they play. A nice building run from the Waratahs again. Nawankwanita Wasi tries to go around the side of the breakdown. Turika Davita manages to drag him down. Now 40 metres out from the draw line. The Waratahs, big driving tackle by two of the big Fijian forwards. Now Nawankwanita Wasi again. Perezi quick hands to Jorgensen. He's then had a huge amount of the ball throughout this one. No first thing, says Roman. Now big shot again on Lockie Swinton. He's had a tough battle out there in this first half. Some big bruises on his stomach tomorrow. Nice drive from Edwards Archer Holes. Now Gordon back to Perezi, trying to get through. Another big shot. Drops the ball in the process. They say it went backwards and it's a penalty in favour of the Waratahs. They said that a Fijian player left his feet in the process. And who do you think will win? I mean, I think the Fijian Drua have got just as much of a chance as the Waratahs in winning this match. As much as that Super Rugby Pacific poll wanted to say otherwise, I think they've got a real good crack here. They're playing with passion. They're playing with skill. And ball was free, ref. So I believe they said because he left his feet in the process of going for it. So playing the ball on the ground, I think, is what he got penalised for. Show them draw, make Fiji proud, says Lotti. And hey, Kiwi lads, you're not watching the league game, mate, says David Lee. Not currently. We might be doing an NRL live stream tomorrow, perhaps. We do manage to find the time. But yeah, we have got plenty more sevens coming up with Fiji versus Great Britain. That will be the game we cover tomorrow morning at about 9:40 New Zealand time. And Osumbo dropped the Bulls. Shucks. Says it was Vinny, but now Tane Edmund 1 from 2 for the kicking. You can hear the crowd booing, trying to put him off. I don't think it will work. It should be relatively straightforward for Tane Edmund. From 38 metres out, kick successful, and now the score is going to be 10-all between these two sides with only 90 seconds left in the first half. We have got KVT in the chat a little bit earlier on as well. Welcome in, mate. You are well. And our play was off until the ball was recovered. Free ball, says the snooze, and also the Fiji flags from Penny in the chat. Do let me know, ladies and gentlemen, with 90 seconds left on the clock, can either side score any more points in this first half? I'm going to be rolling this ball back nicely for Jake Gordon. Come on, Drua, says Viniana. KVT is telling us all his favourite actress, we'll call her. Now on the short side, Lamani. Looks like he's just about in touch. In fact, he is. And now there was actually a knock-on from the Waratahs, though, so the drill will have the scrum feed. Not too much time left on the clock. He looks disappointed there, Frank Lamani. Unfortunately for him. Didn't quite get that one right. Well, Rabua 10 all quiet, a good gamer, says Vinny. Very, very even game for different reasons. The Waratahs, I think that physicality we're seeing from the Drua is actually really throwing them off. And they would have known it would be physical, but everyone can think it's going to be a physical game and think you're prepared for a physical game till you get smacked in the ribs and draw another try before halftime, says Junior Khan. And Waratahs like test dummies for the Fijian Drua, says Yanri. Yep, Vinny T, says Viniana. Now Lamani feeding the ball in again. Going off to the left-hand side, we can hear the halftime siren, but that will not phase the Fijian Drua. They're not the type of side to kick this ball into touch. They're the type of side to look for another try. For Rika Davita, he's dropped the ball. Now it's going to be back. Lockie Swinton goes to Jorgensen, who looks like he is going to be going for that run rather than kicking the ball out for the Waratahs either. Now Gordon back across to Lockie Swinton, almost through. That will also be a knock-on, so that will be the end of the half, ladies and gentlemen. 10 points each for these two sides, and quite an entertaining first 40 minutes there. And it was always going to be a draw. They are called the Drua. So after all, it's so obvious, says Elon. And toss of Drua, show them how it's done, and you knock on and draw, make it count, says Vinny. So if South Africa was back in Super Rugby, there'd be more fights. Says Mr. Loon, probably. A lot more passion out there as well with the South Africans out there on the park. We've even seen it with some of the South Africans in the competition getting a bit feisty at times. Everyone has a plan. They get hit in the face. Mike Tyson, exactly right. It was the quote I was slightly going for, but then I realized that if they get hit in the face, it's more than likely a yellow or a red card. So I thought I'd try and change it up a little bit. But yeah, that was the quote that we were looking at from Iron Mike. Only half time in this contest. We've seen some good plays from both sides. Thurika Davita, other than that last drop ball, has been pretty strong. I'd like to see Kalaviti Revovo pass the ball a little bit more in the second half, though, because I feel there were a few opportunities that maybe he could have helped get it out wide to Samavore, to Ravatomada as the other option out on the other wing. Either of those two could have been very handy, but I think the benches are going to be definitely key for these two sides. They did decide to leave Honetiko off the field for the second half, which means Natave now keeps the spot. Also, it is going to be Ulia Kepa there at number 18. And a very dangerous man, Soro Vakatini Tuifangalili. Hard name to say, but once you get the hang of it, it's normally a little bit easier. And also Thanakai Vata, the other forward replacement. Watch out for those two. But Will Harris, Charlie Gamble will add plenty for the Waratahs. I think it's going to be hard to pick who to take off the field because Gleason's been playing pretty well. Michael Hooper's had a slightly quieter game, but has still been heavily involved. And then Lockie Swinton, he's taken a lot of big hits, so they might consider taking him off due to those injuries that he's ended up with slowly building up. What team do you think is going to win? I think the Fiji Drua have a good crack in this game. As long as they keep it close in the first 10 minutes of the second half, I think they've got a decent chance. And the Drua says Roman. And also, halftime already. Good one, both teams. Says Vinny and South Africa teams were flat on the Drua because no team in rugby is as physical in South Africa, says Jan Reid. Yet they left the competition before Drua actually got in there, so we'll never know. Was it because they were scared of the FIJIAN Drua Yanri now that they decided to leave? I know that will just annoy you. That's why I said it. Don't panic. Don't go angry at me. I know you will, though. Seems to be your temperament. Andrew all the way says Viniana. Someone should capitalize or said to capitalize on it. Agree. Says the snooze. And leave a like, subscribe. The Kiwi lads. Welcome in, everyone. Says Nate. You heard the man. If you haven't already, sure leave a like and subscribe. We're going to be back for the sevens tomorrow. And I was like, lol, you trolling the Safa, says the most. Although he's normally a heavy troll on the channel as well, Yanri. So we get away with it when it's Yanri. He doesn't know whether we're joking or not half the time, though. New Zealand kicked us out, sure. And also, I'm new to rugby, but let's go the Drua. If they win, they'll be my favourite team, says Oscar. And they're a good team to get behind because you know you're going to get some entertaining rugby throughout any match that the Fijian Drua play, whether it's the offloads, whether it's the big hits, those bone-crunching tackles, though, go the Drua, says Oscar. Yeah, they've had some massive shots in the first 40. They can continue that physicality. It seems like it's slowly maybe wearing away. And the Waratahs, 100% Drua will win this game, says Asefa. And we know that they can win a game late in a contest. We saw that last week with their game up against Moana Pacifica. They were able to get themselves that very last minute try and leave it to the Drua to make a game interesting, says that was Sammy Souza. And also, Drua have the Crusaders next week at home if you're looking for so-called physicality, says Sammy Souza. Do you miss the South African team, says Yanri? I mean, to a certain extent, I think a lot of people do miss those South African sides. One thing that's good, though, is the fact that we don't have to worry about waking up for 3 a.m. games, which seems ironic for me because I do those games anyway, so it's kind of my own fault. So I get to see both teams play anyway. And I did like watching the South African teams in Super Rugby. Wish they all could be there with the Drua, Moana Pacifica, and Argentina, says Moose. Yeah, it would be pretty awesome seeing the Kiwares team make their way in. Maybe a Japanese Sunwolves could come back at a stretch. And now we can see what Eddie got from their teams, or his NRL has been going to be the Australian Rugby World Cup team. There's Miri there. Yeah, Eddie Jones, he's lurking at the ground. I think he's been to both days so far and watching closely, seeing which players he likes to look off for his squad and which players might end up missing out. Go Waratahs, whack little Drua boys, says Walter. And yes, sir, very comfy and utilised. What was the final score in the Moana Pacifica versus the Chiefs? In the end, the score ended up being 52 points to the Chiefs, 29 for Moana Pacifica. For they left Lions was the South African team I most enjoyed playing, Bulls the least, says Moose. Oh, he's not going to enjoy that, Moose. That's Yanri's team. And I, Kiwi, when do you, or will you do the 2023 World Cup commentary? We sure will be. Every single game on the channel covered by us. So yeah, if you are new, sure leave a like and subscribe. We've got plenty more coming in the near future. And yeah, go the Chiefs. I'm watching, says Moose. And then Tosso Drua Tosso says Tai Penny. Hopefully I said that correctly. Or Tai Penny. One of the two, hopefully. A Munster beat Scarlet 49 points to 42. Says Yarny. So yeah, defence not really happening in that contest between the two sides, just allowing each other to run in those easy points. And welcome in, ladies. Says Nate. And the Glasgow Warriors beat Zebre 48 points to 8. Says Yarny now. Currently half time, 10 points to 10. I think a lot of people would agree, though. A close game like this, much better than a runaway game like that Glasgow Zebre matchup. Everyone wants to see it go down to the wire, get the heart racing, get you on the edge of your seat and watching every single moment, every step. What Super Rugby Pacific is trying to be about. It's just some games so far have been mismatches, unfortunately. But looking through at the schedule for tomorrow, ladies and gentlemen, anyone who is interested, we are going to be covering Fiji versus Great Britain in the Vancouver Sevens. That will be a 9:42 a.m. kickoff here in New Zealand. Alongside that, we are going to be covering Argentina versus South Africa. That is at 10:26 a.m. And then 11:13 a.m. is New Zealand versus Samoa. Then we've got a few quarterfinals later on in the day alongside Blues versus Brumbies for Super Rugby Pacific. Be sure to stick around for those ones. And Sheds is sparking for the second of both games. A level at halftime. Sharks 12, Rabbitohs 12. There's Ed. So it could be a very close game in the NRL and also Super Rugby alongside each other. But Zebre is like a Rebels, Western Force of the competition or the draw or Moana. Says Yanri. I'd slightly disagree. I think we've seen some very good rugby from Zebre throughout this season compared to last year. Like the fact that they went toe-to-toe with Leinster, which is something the Bulls haven't been able to do. But yeah, something that Zebre were able to do quite well. And she's looking good. Thrash the Satyrs last week. Sadly, Thrash Moana Pacifica this week, says Mustia. Although Moana fought back very well in that game. I feel like they have not a lot to be disappointed about in that second 40 minutes. It was just getting to that second 40 minutes that really cost them. Like going into halftime, 38 points to 3 down, then coming back, managing to get it to 29 points to 52. Showed the passion near the end, that's for sure. And thanks for the live, brother, watching in from the Highlands of Fiji. Says, I'll see you. No worries at all. Hopefully, have been enjoying the commentary. We've got plenty more coming up in the near future. We cover a majority of the Super Rugby Pacific games. Those beat Leinster 26-20 or 27-26 with all the Irish internationals, says Yari now. Although that wasn't this season, was it? Because at the moment, Leinster are undefeated throughout this season. Well, Moana looked better in that second half, and they did versus the Chiefs in the preseason, says Moose. And the Chiefs boys pushing from the ABs or pushing for the AB spot for the Rugby World Cup. I'd love to see Sean Stevenson get a crack in the AB's jersey. And URC's says Inky, although it's not great because I'm just about to say we are covering some of the URC Inky. We're going to be covering Stormers versus Sharks at 1:30 a.m. New Zealand time. So anyone who is keen on that competition, be sure to check that one out as well. Halftime in this matchup, 10 points to 10. They're asking the Fijian Drua supporters how they will be going. Leinster is coming to Loftus on the 21st of April. So, says Yanri. So what you're saying is we should time you out on that live stream, Yanri, so we don't have to listen to you. I would like to see the Super Rugby teams take on the Japan League teams, though. I'd be very interesting, and the rest of the URC is bad. There's a snooze. Yeah, there's some rough ones, isn't there? Overall, although that seems to be the case with the majority of competitions now. It just seems like the refereeing is almost the hardest thing to get consistently right across the comp. We'll go like this, and we will go like this. There we go. Making sure the Wi-Fi is running smoothly, which it is, which is quite good news because I didn't actually have to reset the modem after the sevens, which I thought I was going to have to. So far, we have only seen the 2 tries being scored. One for the Waratahs, which was Dave Parecki, and then one scored by Joe Tamani for the Fijian Drua. And Japan League teams, we're looking to poach Super Rugby players, though, especially Drua and Moana Pacifica. Well, look at what happened to Vinaya Habosi, a breakout player for the Fijian Drua. Everyone was like, where has this guy come from? And how is he so good so quickly? And then he got snatched up by Racing 92, the French side. They were like, yep, it'll do. Get him out on the wing. I haven't actually seen too much about how he's doing for the Racing 92 side. In fact, we're going to look that up now. We're going to see where is Vinaya Habosi now and how's he doing. In fact, Cardiff beat Zebre and Ulster have never ever beaten the Bulls. Says Yanri. That's a very fun fact. Although they've only played like what 3 times, twice, something like that. So it's not a hugely impressive one yet, is it, Yanri? Until they get a bit further. Talking about the Super Round in Super Rugby Pacific. Another thing to mention as well in terms of the Ulster situation with the Bulls, Ulster still find themselves ahead of the Bulls on the table, Yanri. So they must have been beating someone better than the Bulls were beating them. Go the draw, back the underdogs. Says Nazi Williams, and Japan offers more money to the players, which isn't wrong. Players are free to choose. No hurt feelings, says Ed Vogel. Yeah, at the end of the day, rugby's one of those sports that when you get to professional level, you only have so many years that you can play for before your body starts regretting it, I guess you could say. So if you can get a big payday in the process, you might as well do it. And I think that's what a lot of players have been doing. It's what we're seeing a lot of All Blacks doing after the 2023 World Cup because they've thought, well, I've only got a certain amount of span in my career. I might as well make the most that I can so that I can provide for the family and set them up well. So I'm just looking at the lineups. Vinaya Habossi was on the right wing or the left wing for Racing 92 in their last game when they did lose 45 points to 11 to Leon. Probably not the best example. The one try was scored by Kurashvili, actually one of the Georgian players. We're going to keep on going back till we find a Vinaya Habossi try. Lineups. Vinaya Habossi was not in the lineup for that game and didn't come off the bench. Right, there's no point looking at that game, but they did end up winning it against Brief. And when Super 12 started in the late 90s, Bulls kept the wooden spoon, later relegated for the Cheetahs, says Nate. You know that's going to annoy Yanri, don't you, Nate? That's why you said it. Racing 92, they didn't put Vinaya Bossi out on the wing for that game either. You telling me they only occasionally give Vinaya Bossi a run round? Yeah, he's not there for that game. Didn't come off the bench either. I feel like they're underusing him. Get him back to the Fijian Drua. Give him some time. I was a professional, bro. Couch professional. And bro says Nate and Sharks versus the Blues was the final of the first Super 12, or it was the Reds. Or before that, it was the Reds who won the Super Rugby, or it became the Super 12, says Moose there. But currently, we aren't too far away from the second half getting underway. Racing 92 in the game up against Leinster. Vinaya Bossi was not playing. I think the only game he has played is actually the most recent game. Looking through every other game, it seems like they leave Vinaya Bossi out. The man maybe had an injury, I'd assume. But if he hasn't, it's been a long time since Habossi was in action. I'm still going through old games. Juanemoff and Taufafanua were the two wingers. That was in January. He hasn't played this year other than once. And if that's not underusing a talented player, I don't know what is. It's a shame. And the only problem I have is that this level shouldn't be at internationals, says the Snooze and Rebels must be thinking, how have we never beaten the Bulls? Says Yanri. I'm sure they do. I'm sure they stay up all night thinking about it, Yanri. Or they could probably not give less of a toss about it, probably. And hopefully he gets good form to play for the Fiji team at the World Cup. I don't think he will if they're not going to play him. He's had one game this year, and that is starting or coming off the bench. I'm going to have a look at Racing 92's lineup this weekend. We're going to see if he's got a chance. If he hasn't, I get signing him as coverage, but sign him halfway through the season and get him over there rather than not giving him any chance at all. All it will do is ruin his rugby. Besides the leaving of senior star Super Rugby players, I will give the youngster or the younger debutant a chance to play more. Investment is key. He needs to start them young Romans and build on a day. Hopefully he gets good form. And sad, then what a waste. Yeah, I couldn't agree more. How have they not been playing Vinaya Habossi? And the thing is, they're not even winning all their games, so get them out there. Right, their latest lineup. I don't think they announce it on their social media, unless they put it here. 23 hours, 19. Is that the lineup? No, that is the Sevens lineup. And that is the Georgian lineup. So, yeah, I have no idea what's happening with Vinaya Habossi. And Yanri, it's the Rebels, mate. Hope Drua can win, says Jan Brand is going to be kicked off high for the second half. Nicely taken by Jed Holloway. So 40 minutes to split these two sides. And also we have got there, Hami said it, money will help Masi. Says the snooze. Go the draw, says Big Light. Yeah, so I hope he was paid well, Vinay Habosi, for going overseas rather than getting him cheap and then not utilizing him. Nice work. That's going to be possibly, no, the ball came out, so it's not going to be a rolling away penalty. Big run from Natave again. Now Lamani goes off to the short side to Ravovo. Trying to spin out of the tackle, Calaviti Ravovo, but unable to do so. Now Lockie Swinton having almost a fight with Tavita Ikanaveri off the ball. Lamani goes into the midfield to Te Ehuaru Thorika Davita. Lamani again goes right. There goes. Salawa considered offloading, goes back on the inside to Muntz. Now again, Lamani going to Natave. Driven backwards. Good defense so far from the Waratahs. The quickest try in Super Rugby. There's Nate. I think that Chiefs versus Moana Pacifica one would have been right up there, was it, with the 12 seconds? So that they were able to get it. Who has the ball? Says Oscar at the moment. The Fijian draw. They're up to 8 phases in a row. Lamani goes off now into the hands of their big number 4. Sela driven backwards by Michael Hooper. Trying to jump on the ball there. Hugh Sinclair almost gave away the penalty. Muntz again. Fends off Jake Gordon. It's going to be the penalty advantage now for the drawer. Lamani going off now to Rotui Solia. Tackled by Hooper. Been busy in the early stages of the second half. Now Sila goes again. The locks for the draw currently. I'll do a majority of the carries. Lamani goes for the little kick and behind. It goes straight to the Waratahs fullback Donaldson. And it is going to be now going back for the original penalty. Bulls' worst record is against the Brumbies, winning 12 out of the 27 games. Says Jan Renau. And even under 15 could beat the Rebels. And what is the score? Says Maku at the moment, it is 10 points each. So we did see the one try from the Waratahs scored by Dave Parecki, their number 2. And then alongside that, we saw the try for Joe Tamani of the Fijian draw, the number 6. And 10-10 says Oscar there as well. And go the draw, says Big Light. Kicking for the corner here, going aggressive early in the second half. The drawer knowing that 3-pointers will not quite win them this contest. And instead, the 7s could be much more important. Speaking of 7s, Fiji, important game tomorrow, taking on Great Britain. They did lose to Uruguay. So this is a must-win for the Fijians. We will be covering that one on the channel as well. Ikanaveri throws it into Te Ehuaru Thorika Davita. Now looking to rolling maul this one towards the try line, and it's doing nicely. Ikanaveri breaks off, tries to go straight over Gordon, and he gets the try early. Ikanaveri scores for the drawer. Let me know when the drawer is about to score. I missed that one, Oscar. They have now just scored. Oh, little bit of a push and a shove after. You know there's going to be passion. It looks like Zai Perezi needs to be very careful not to have any punches thrown either his way or him throwing any. And yeah, the Bulls, Nate, or Blues, Nate. How does it feel that the Stormers have beaten the Bulls or the Blues more times? Says Yanri. I mean, I'll give you credit, Yanri. You seem to know plenty of stats, or at least Google helps you with plenty of your stats in terms of what the Bulls were able to do. But it's one of those cases of what have they done lately? That's the main thing you got to look at, rather than what have we done 10, 15 years ago. What are we doing now for the Bulls? They've got to beat the Lions. If they lose to the Lions, that would be a massive loss for them. And I want you to tell me all about it if they do. But Ikanaveri is very nicely off that rolling maul. Try to try whenever Quade Cooper returns for the Rebels. A leadership is desperately needed. And draw a man. An awesome drawer. Go the drawer. There's Viniana there as well. I wonder if it will be like the Moana Pacifica game. Draw win it on the last second try. There's a real possibility this game goes down to the wire, which is why this kick of Ikanaveri will be so important. Oh, sorry, this kick off his try will be so important. He won't be doing the kicking, I don't believe. Muntz instead has got the responsibilities. It goes over, making the score now 17 points to 10 in favor of the Fijian draw. A great start to the second half for the Fijian boys. And try, says Romain. I want to see draw in the status, says the snooze. I'm sure the Blue supporters are happy to have won a Super Rugby title, unlike the Stormers in the time, says Sorelli. Currently, we are sitting 44 minutes through. There's still another 36 to go, but if the draw can score again, will be very much so ideal for them. Taken by Osefu Masi. A little bit of a more quiet game than what we saw in the last matchup up against Moana Pacifica, but hasn't had to have a huge match. Forwards seem to be doing their job, keeping the ball on their side. And the reason why I followed the Stormers plus my man, I heard of him, Yanri now. And also, well, just Wild Drua. The Lions have always been a very strong team. How many teams have fallen against them? Many teams have fallen against them, although they're sitting about 12th, Yanri. So you don't want to lose to a 12th place team. That would be terrible, wouldn't it? Now bouncing up, Jorgensen taking it nicely. Nice work in the breakdown from Salawa. Doesn't quite get his hands on the ball, though. Now back across, Donaldson goes to Edmund. Gleason's waiting for it a little bit wider. They've got numbers. They give it off to Nawankwanitawasi. He's it in the field of play. Now Holloway goes back across, Edmund to Swinton. Dragging him down was Ravovo. Lamani on the ball. And it's a clean turnover for the Drua. Now Tamani. Looks like he's got the option on the inside. It was flat. Munt still finds the offload up to Lamani again, though. Now trying to offload it. Goes straight to Langy Gleason. Big mistake from Frank Lamani there not to hang on to that ball. Scoreline's very low for this match. It's been even. It is for sure. Now nicely taken. A mark from Druasisi. Who was another player who was underutilized for his red side, which is why he went to the draw, getting himself a massive opportunity here and certainly trying to make the most of it. The Lions have beaten every single overseas team. All their losses come against South Africa teams and Ulster. There's Yanri. So what you are saying is if they have lost to every other South African team, if the Bulls lose to them, it would be an embarrassment for the Bulls. Now, it's going to be Tane Edmund running forward. You set yourself up for that one, Yanri. Unfortunately, you just gave me the stats that I needed to be able to give you the two-piece. Now, Jake Gordon going off to Hugh Sinclair. Zaya Perezi. Is it off to Michael Hooper now? And also the Drua says Roman and Tamani. Oh no, wrong options. Now, it's going to be a knock-on from the Fijian Drua again. In fact, they've said it's come off someone's foot as well. A lot of players all standing around now and a lot of drinks being run onto the field. Someone's got cramp as well. And Lions didn't beat Leinster, says Karen. And Hamish, you got this boss, says Nate. Super Rugby, mate. Just get this quarter. Or might just get this quarter. Says the snooze. Only 7 points advantage. There's a Harlequins rugby shirt. You're going to be playing a little bit later on. And so how they beat every overseas team. And it was the ball right now. We've got a stoppage, but it was a knock-on from the Fijian Drua, so we're just waiting for the scrum to take place. But they have got about 4 or 5 medics on the field, all attending to different players. So we've got probably a 1 or 2 minute stoppage here before they get back into the action. Draw my flavour, says Viniana. And yeah, it would be a massive embarrassment, but I feel for the Lions. They need more games against overseas teams and not South African teams. But surely if you're constantly losing to South African teams, that's who you should be playing to improve. No, you don't want to be playing easy sides. You don't want to get your confidence up by beating sides that you would consider easy beats. You want to beat the best. That's always the thing. To be the best, you got to beat the best. So if you're saying your South African sides are the best, that's who the Lions have to be playing and that's who they have to be beating. That's pretty much motto number one is if you want to be the best, you got to beat the best. They played Leinster once, says Yanri, and they didn't beat them. So they got to be playing Leinster more as well. Got to be the best, beat the best. Fijian Drua, they'll have that mindset going into their game up against the Crusaders, the defending Super Rugby Pacific champions from last year. They can beat them in Lautoka. The stadium, it doesn't have a roof, but the roof will be blown off the place. There will be so much support all throughout Fiji for them massively. And come on, the Drua, stay focused. Says Vinny, looks like they are going to be making a change of Ikanaveri, having to go off the field now, and that is for Togi Otama. Super Rugby needs the South African teams back. Says Skuxman. Eddie Jones once again in attendance, big smile on his face. It's so funny how now he gets cheers from the crowd, whereas 2 months ago when he was England's England's coach, he would get booed by everyone. And oops, who scored that last Fijian Drua try? The try was scored by their number 2, Taveta Ikanaveri. Public holiday in Viti if the Drua beat the Sailors last, says Mus. Tell you what, there'd be plenty of celebrations. I don't think many people would be getting much sleep that night. The Lions have always been my second favourite team. Really good and exciting team. There's Yanri. Oh, nice work from Tane Edmund. Now going to Jake Gordon. Beautiful take. Good run forward as well. Zaya Perezi goes to Edmund. Short ball now to Lambert. Plan number one here for the Waratahs in this contest. Jake Gordon goes across to Dave Parecki. Now Taney him a short ball to Michael Hooper. 10 metres out. Gleeson, they've got numbers, and Donaldson will go in for the try for the Waratahs. They'll get back into the contest. I think this game's going to be a seesaw right to the final moments, and then it will be whoever makes the least mistakes in the final 5 minutes will be the side who are victorious. Well, they want to check something for this one. Numbers A says the snooze here. Plenty on the outside. Donaldson didn't even have to be the one who scored that. They still have one more. Fiji, they went a little bit too compact with their defensive line. Ravo Tamara caught off his wing, and then they had Jorgensen on the outside if they needed him. Why doesn't the scorecard show bonus point like a BP? Says Janri. At this stage, neither side have got a bonus point, but this scorecard just doesn't really have the capabilities of doing so. Super Rugby only needs Stormers and the Sharks, says Blues Nate. And also score for the Tars, says Vinny. As well. Yeah, the Tars have managed to score themselves to try to get them a little bit further back into this contest. If this kicks over, we're going to be sitting 17 all. The Drua. You wonder whether or not that last minute win up against Moana Pacifica will also help them in this scenario, being able to find a way, digging deep late in a contest. Deep breath taken by Edmund for the kick, and he's got it. It's going to make the score 17 points to 17. No, Super Rugby only needs the Lions. Says Yanri now. And the Bulls, Cheetahs, Lions, or Cats, leave them in the URC. Says Nate. I know there were rumors of possibly looking at putting the Cheetahs and the Rikwas in the Gallagher Premiership after a few of the debacles that they had in that competition. And the Cheetah says Yanri now on good hook. Says the snooze. It's kicked off long, nicely taken by Donaldson inside of his 22. Sit downfield. Oh. One of the ladies on the side of the field tried to take that catch there. Slightly stopped the drill from going quickly. How did Jake Gordon go so far? He hasn't been too bad, Jake Gordon. Put his body on the line because there's certainly been plenty of big hits coming in. But, yeah, I think he hasn't done too bad overall in his early stages. And Stormers and Sharks always give New Zealand teams solid games. Here's the Blues, Nate. It'll be a knock on. Who's the Cats, Yanri now? Are you telling me you have all this rugby information and you haven't heard of the Cats, Yanri? I am surprised. Now, Joe Tamani. Caleb Muntz as well. Gets the ball. That's actually Jake Gordon penalised. So we might have jinxed him, Stephen. In that case, playing the man in the air. Now Caleb Muntz kicking this one for the corner. He's sitting about 15 metres out from the line. Ikanaveri on the sideline, looking like he's still dealing with a little bit of cramp. The moment of saying that, those are big calves to deal with the cramp. You've got to really try and work it out of there, and that will take about a week. What happened to Meri Derialangi? Unfortunately, went overseas. Big shame. Not for the team that he's gone to, but for the FIJIAN Drua anyway. In fact, while this rolling maul is going, we're going to quickly do a Google and find out where he went. Derialangi, where is he at the moment? He currently plays for... It says he's still in the squad, to be fair. I thought he went overseas. I'm thinking of someone else, aren't I? Derialangi. Maybe he is still there. He just seems to be not playing anymore. Or maybe injured could be the other thing. Possibly. And as I rate all the South African symbols, the Lions, Sharks, Bulls, Lions, and Cheetahs. You said the Lions twice, Yanri. You forgot the Stormers. And how do we not keep it safe in the mall? There's this news. That one's going to be pushed into touch. And now the Waratahs will have themselves another line out. And also punching his own teammate. The Spirit says Nate there. What's the highlight so far? I would say, highlight. What are we at? Those big hits early on were very good from the FIJIAN Drua. And, the tries that we've had have been pretty much, they've been the stock standard type ones, passing out wide or driving up the middle with the forward. So I would just say the physicality of this whole match. Like, that's probably the highlight, not just for the first 5 minutes, not just for the first 10, 20, 40. It's going to be the whole game. Everyone well and truly going for it. Looks like Tete Tella now out on the field for Caleb Muntz. 2 minutes through at the moment, and Dave Parecki now got himself the line out throw. Yeah, Meri Dirialangi, I think. I'm trying to think of who I was thinking of. It's one of those guys in the loose forward trio. Maybe it was Nasove I was thinking of, who's gone overseas. Now rolling forward in the maul here, the Waratahs. Jed Holloway asking for the penalty, saying, he's got my leg. Didn't sound very Australian, almost sounded more English the way he was asking for that one. We going high. Jorgensen. He's still yelling about it. He's going to have to be careful not to get himself penalised. Now, drop backwards for Nawakwanetawasi, but it does end up going down to a teammate. That's Isaiah Perezi. Puts the big boot in. Might keep on rolling and rolling and rolling and rolling. Now it's going to pull up in the in-goal area. Ball placed by Moana Pacifica, and it will be the goal line dropout. Let's go the draw, says Blues Nate. Right, Caleb Muntz playing so far. Dirialangi is injured. Do you know what type of injury he's got, Mr. Billy, and how long he's going to be out for? Yari now reminds me of JP now, centre, I'm sure, who played for those Bulls Super Rugby winners, says Mus. Good kick downfield from the Waratahs after a little bit of extra pressure. Habosi went overseas. He certainly did. Went to Racing 92, and they have used him once this year. We looked through the stats at halftime. With Naya Habosi, he played in the most recent game up against Lyon, where they were defeated about 40 points to 11. I just don't think they're using him enough. They and Tars missing Angus Bell big time. Strong scrummager and carrier. Says Stephen Marks exactly right. It's a shame that he's ended up with his injury. Sure about to score? No. No, they are currently defending. But Tui Fangalele on the field for Rotui Solia, sorry. Now Swinton's knocked the ball on. And which is going to welcome in, like the Fijian symbol, a coconut tree of life. There's Mus there. So a 17-all draw. What a surprise. Says headline. Yeah, I feel like a lot of people underestimating the Fijian Drua. Because I'm going to go and quickly, while we've got another stoppage, like they're saying, Lockie Swinton, after all the big hits he's received in the first half, seems like he's a little bit tentative when he receives that ball. And come on, Drua, says Big Light. Super Rugby. There we go. I want to see if they've still got that one up showing the tipping that people are going for. There it is. Your tips. Oh, no, sorry. The draw is 16%. Even so, though, that is way too low for the Fijian draw. I feel like this game was almost a 60-40 type one. Hey, bro, says Daniel Cox. Now, Lamani kicks it downfield again. Musmasi Drua is an old Fijian canoe with mask. And that is true. Fijian Drua are underrated, says Connor. And the Springbok is the most clean and beautiful symbol in sport and rugby. Can't argue about that, says Yanri. I'm sure if we tried to, Yanri, you'd give us 50,000 stats about random information that's not relevant. It's going to be Tane Edmund, puts the ball high. Nicely taken by Jorgensen. Now the Waratahs back in possession again. So far, all the teams who were supposed to win have won. That's interesting. I mean, the Fijian national team, Vinny. There's Mus. Now 30 metres out from the line. Jake Gordon going off to the right-hand side to Michael Hooper, who's hit hard by Frank Lamani. Sat him down. He finds the offload. Back up to Sinclair. Now Parisi goes for the grubber in behind. Muntz has to wait for that one to bounce. That's high as well. They should probably have a look at that. And Nick Berry is going to go back for that penalty more than likely. But that's true. It's so beautiful and clean. And LMAO trolling Yardi, says Cameron. I have Waratahs by 8, says Stephen. That might not be too far off, Stephen. The prediction and Acox, says Elon. Gotcha, flying Fijians. Oh, you mean gotcha? What you mean gotcha? Says Vinny. Oh, so they've actually, Nick Berry's dropped his balls. And he's decided that he doesn't want to try and overrule the main referee, and instead it will be a Waratahs penalty. I think she looked a bit high and looked okay, says the snooze. Just going to show it again. Maybe first glance it made it look worse than it was. Where are we? We're going to wait for it. Are they going to show it? No, they're not going to show it. Okay, never mind. All right, Amish got this. Says Blues Nate. Now 25 minutes remaining. Drua supporters still in attendance, absolutely loving it. at the ground. The atmosphere is certainly awesome. As I search out the Springbok logo and tell me what you think about it. Says Yanri. Luckily for you, Yanri, I have more than a 5-second memory, as I'm not a goldfish, so I actually still remember what it looks like from last time I saw it. I mean, I like to drink and eat coconuts. I am Samoan, Cook Island Maori. So, of course, food influences my choice, says Moose. And Iceberry is a bit of a hit and miss ref, or Nick Berry is a bit of a hit and a miss ref. There's no Nigel and go Fiji go. Says Cactus to Fly. I see that Sue has now made his way on. For Sinclair and also Will Harris has come out onto the field. That is for Lockie Swinton. Now rolling forward once again here. Looks like they've gone with the number 16, Tony Latu. Being able to shut it down nicely though. Here come Sue. Close to the line. Gordon across now. So Charlie Gamble. The Drua might be right on the verge of conceding a try here if they're not careful. Here comes Sue again. They're 5 meters out, and the Drua need to make sure they stay on side. Now Jed Holloway, short ball to Langy. Gleeson reaches out and scores, and the Waratahs will get themselves another one. See what happens, says Edward John. Are you doing the commentary for the Blues game tomorrow? We certainly are. It will be a little bit of a mix depending on who makes it through in the quarterfinals of the Sevens competition. But either way, there will be coverage of both the Sevens and the Blues versus Brumbies. It just depends on who you guys will see. Also, we have got there Ayana. You're on the Terps as well. Saturdays are for the boys. Damn nail bite of this game, says Moose. And also, I didn't even know there's still 24 minutes, Emmy. And what logo is better, New Zealand or the Box? Well, they're quite different, aren't they? One of them's of a plant, one of them's of an animal. So that's like saying, do you prefer animals or do you prefer plants? Tricky one, isn't it? Yes, there's Connor and shoot it Hakata's score as well, or shoot it and Tars score. I thought Hakata's was a new rugby nickname for them. And yes, young green coconut juice is lovely, Mussy. Whatever, Neil, says Edward. That kick is successful now, making the score just a little bit further in the lead by 7. The Terps gets me steaming into Super Rugby. Says Elon, did Artie get a yellow or did he get a red? He just got a yellow for his, but the other fella, Tavita Mafaleo, he got his yellow card upgraded to a red. What does Springbok taste like, Yanri? Had a Safa girlfriend in the day. Used to like going to her place for braai. There's Moose. Oh, taken in the air. Going to be the penalty in favour of the Waratahs. Just a bit of a mistake there from Celestino Ravatamata, who is very apologetic for it. Commentary neutral, says Edward John there. It's the thing. I always try and call these games straight down the middle. If the Waratahs are playing well, I'll tell you. If the Drua are playing well, I'll tell you. The way we like to keep it. Even if New Zealand are playing or any side that I go for are playing, still going to be straight down the middle. Why do they change the anthem for South Africa inspired by New Zealand national anthem? Says no, and go the Drua, please, says Vinny. Fire needs wood, says the snooze. And the Drua need Artie. Imagine Artie and Julian Savia in the Fijian Drua side. That would be absolutely awesome to see. In fact, I would actually rather see Vinaya Habosi. Whatever, says Edward John. In there. I don't know whether you're talking to me, Edward, or to Yanri in the chat. One of the two, probably. Now it is going to be Latu at the back, driving forward. Nice work from Latu. 45 out. And Jake Gordon now goes off to Charlie Gamble. Jake Gordon. Nice and inside pass. Looking to just build phases here. The Fijian Drua, if they can get a turnover, they could go for that counter-attacking opportunity. The South African national anthem is Afrikaans, English, and Xhosa. Says Yanri now. Who do you guys think is in their prime right now, says Connor. Are we talking player-wise? Commentary, baby, says Edward John. Are you a Fijian Drua supporter or a Waratahs supporter? Edward. If you're talking about me not going for the Fijian Drua, I recommend going back and looking when they scored that first try and seeing the reaction and say that I'm not neutral. Now, 20 minutes remaining. Another penalty goes the way of the Waratahs, who just haven't allowed the Fijian Drua to have too much of the ball as of late. Suddenly changed it, bro. Says Blues. Now imagine people watching the Bulls versus Lions. That would be an unbelievable scenario. Does the Drua look like they're going to get more points this Cameron? I think there's a decent chance for Fiji to be able to score in the next few minutes. And in fact, I think they score before 70 minutes and we go to the last 10 minutes equal. Although it looks like maybe the Waratahs might sneak themselves another try here first. Be kicked in a touch. And see what happens, sorry. Says Edward John. Now it is going to be 20 minutes remaining. The draw. It's going to be a tough little moment. I wish they changed the Scossa to Māori, but that's not a South African language, Yanri. It would be a bit weird. It's like saying for the New Zealand Maori part, hey, let's change it to French. Let's see how French would go. Just start it with bonjour. It's like you kind of do it based off the nation, not off what language you think sounds cool. And thank you, says Edward John. Now, Latu going to be throwing it in. Ulia Kepa now out on the field. That is for Natave. So it looks like it's going to be a big game for Samu Tawake. We'll be out there for the full matchup. Now the Waratahs only 5 meters out from the line. Drua trying frantically to be able to defend it, and it looks like they're doing a decent job. But now it starts to roll just that little bit further towards the try line. It's going sideways. Latu is in there somewhere. The Drua one-on-one. Nawakwanita put into touch. Great work. And no, I don't understand Scorsa. Sounds like someone chewing gum. Well, then that's something that you should improve on, Yanri. You seem to think you know everything about rugby. How about learning what the Scossa part of the national anthem actually means and learn how to pronounce it? Just an idea. Now the Waratahs win the game. We are supported, says Antoinette. Antoinette. Sorry, I said that slightly wrong. They should swap the Afrikaans for Klingon, Yanri, says Mus. And strong team this draw. A bit controversial, but logical. Would make sense for Brad Weber to lead the haka so he can actually be seen for. He's not the biggest lad, is he, Brad? But he's apparently quite a master on the DJ booth. That's going to be another penalty advantage in favour of the Waratahs. Seems like the maybe first 10 minutes of the second half was when the draw were their most dangerous, but now starting to slow down. Seal finds the offload up to Gordon. 1 metre out from the line. The Waratahs with Michael Hooper. Edmund sells the dummy, goes over. And the Waratahs get themselves the try again. Go the draw. There's Vinny and unpredictable, says Edward John. Right, they just want to check on the. No, they don't want to check the ground. I think it is the referee just having a chat to the Fijian Drua playing now when Big Costa to me. Like, what are you saying, mate? So that's when you learn. Like, you just have that respect to actually put in the effort. Similar to like how I could easily sit here and mispronounce every name for the Fijian Drua, but instead you put in the time. You show that you're being respectful towards the side and you try your best to be able to get it right. And yes, I still get the occasional name wrong, but I still have spent hours and hours trying to get those pronunciations correct. Big love for our South African farmhouse, says Blues Nate. And also, hi, says Brandon, and go the draw, says Yellow. And also, thank you both teams and going to bed, says Vinny. It's not over yet. Still time for the Fijian draw to maybe fire back. It's going to be tricky for them. Thanks, Hamish. Blessings. I just said I don't speak Afrikaans or English or don't speak at all. See, that's just utterly disrespectful from yourself, Yanri. I feel like that arrogance, possibly a little bit too much. It's going to be going over. See, that's like traveling to France and being like, oi, you French fellows, you've got to speak English because that's the language I speak. And it's like, no, learn their language. The least you can do. The Fijian names are the pits. Commentator's nightmare, says Elon. It's rugby, says Edward John. And come on the drill, one more score. At least come on, says Cameron. And also, many South Africans that I have met speak 2 to 3 languages, Yanri. Kit Kat boss, tell you what, we should start a Kit Kat fund, shouldn't we, for tomorrow? Nicely taken by the Fijian Drua. We actually managed to get that one. And Elon, yes, you're so right. And sorry, my fingers are slippery. There's Nate. Another big run. Some Vordre taken off the field for Rakuro now. Will make his way out there. Lamani going off to Tititella, the replacement. Sisi now to Masi on the outside. Bit of a counter ruck from the Waratahs. Might have been a knock on the ground from Lamani, but somehow they keep the ball alive. No, they did see the knock on. No advantage. And what do you make of Alex Nankerville and Sean Stevenson form? Munster getting a very good player in Nankerville. I think so. And I think Sean Stevenson, I mentioned this on an earlier live stream, one of the most unlucky guys when it comes to AB selection. I don't know how many times he's been like that next choice guy who's just missed out, but I think at international level, he'd have a really like successful career. You stick him in any other side in the world, I think he gets. Yeah, he calls himself South African. I was born in New Zealand, grew up In South Africa, speak four languages: English, Afrikaans, Tswana. Hopefully I said that correctly, and Xhosa, says Cameron. It's much harder to read the name than pronounce it. It is, yes, someone say it, then repeat, says Moose there. It's horrible. They have classroom, says Yanri. So now you're getting all political, and you're probably going to get yourself a timeout relatively soon, Yanri. Which, to be fair to your credit, you've probably done well to avoid up till this point. Counter play, says Edward. Nice work down the wing forward, Jorgensen. That one is going to be going into touch. And also, whatever compliment a common, says Edward. Mark Delia is slippery. He is. He's going to be a tough man to put down tomorrow for the Brumbies when they go head to head with the Blues. We will be covering that one on the channel. That guy just had his glasses almost knocked off his head from his friend. Will Harris now out onto the field for Langy Gleeson. I hope the drawer can come back, says Moose. Yeah, if they score now, there's still a chance. But they need to score before 70 minutes. That one, not the straightest line out. Stu can't time out if you speak the truth, says Yanri. Well, you can, because this is a rugby stream. I don't know whether you've noticed. Like, we put up with when you were talking about your Bulls and how good they are and whatnot, but when you bring other stuff into it, then you start getting on the verge of going on a nap. 14 points difference between the two sides. I'm starting to think I know why you don't like Forever Sports. I feel like he probably timed you out, or he possibly blocked you. And then that's why you now have this vendetta against him. Now, 14 minutes left in the contest. Scrum feed for the Waratahs. Feeds the ball in. It's going to be a big push as well, looking like they might be able to win that advantage. Yes, they do get it. And I believe they'll start to go for the 3 points if they get the chance here, unless, of course, they can get the full 17. Edmund goes for the cross kick. Drua CC just watches that one into touch. Dar's defense is back in the offense, must see. And enjoy the rugby, says Moose. Exactly right. We're not here to talk about random stuff that isn't really relevant at all to this matchup. Like, South Africa aren't even playing. Waratahs currently playing very well in the second half. Themselves 31 points to 17 up. That's actually a penalty for front row angling in. So, yeah, if you're the Waratahs, I've got to think strategic. You either take the 3 to give you a little bit more of a lead, or you take on either the line out or the scrum to try and get that 3-try deficit for the Fijian Drua. And I believe that's what they're actually going to do. So fair play to the Waratahs. Go on risky rather than taking the safe 3 points. Okay, one of the coaches looks like he's wondering why they didn't take on the 3. And I think the guy next to him was saying the bonus point. 3 tries or more than your opposition. Alatu about to throw the ball in. Line out, I suppose, says Musier. They've decided to go for it. And which part of the field are they? 10 metres out from the line. The line out is successful. Lambert does well now. Jake Gordon, that's going to be an offside advantage against the Fijian Drua. Again, unfortunately, that's also leaving his feet. Double blow of the whistle, and it's going to be a yellow card for the Fijian Drua. He's running it straight with the Bulls team. Then from there on, the rest is box, says Nate. While he's watching, says Edward. Tars weapon of choice, says Mus. So now the Fijian Drua, they'll be down a man. This is where the game really starts to head further in one direction. Togia Tama giving away the penalty. The Fijian Drua just haven't quite found their feet in the last 25 or so minutes of this one. And a reminder to mention the scores in between the commentary, because I'm cleaning the house while listening. Says Ropati. Yeah, currently 31 points to 17. And that's a good point to make, Ropati. I'm glad you brought that up, because I often talk about it remembering that the scoreboard's next to me, but I don't think about the ones who have it on either, because you can actually, if you've got YouTube Premium, you can turn off the screen and just hear a YouTube video rather than seeing it. So I will take that into consideration and certainly try and mention it a little bit more throughout the matchups. Zara's going to close the game out here, says Moose, and cruise control, says Edwin. How many times did the ref call it? Says the snooze, and damn, says yellow. And also, remember that Safa that played for the Waratahs? He looked a bit like their surfer and Joe Momoa. Waratahs, South African player. They've had a few over the years, haven't they? Dar's going to close the game out here. Says Moose. Okay, it looks like they are lacking players that they can actually use here. So I believe they're almost about to go to uncontested scrums, which would mean the Fijian Drua will have to then play with 13 men on the field against 15. And the set play, right? They've got to make another change. This is going to be brutal for the draw, and I believe the bonus point is just around the corner now for the Waratahs. And this is heartbreaking to see the scoreline. They were so close, and then they just started getting it wrong, and it just has gone further downhill for them now. Thoughts on the yellow cards? I think all of them are justified in this one. What's up, mate? Did Uruguay beat Fiji in the Vancouver Sevens last night? That was legendary. They certainly did. Now Fiji, their next game is going to be up against Great Britain. The early stages of tomorrow morning. We will be covering that game on the channel. So be sure to stick around for that one. Anyone who is new, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. We've got plenty more of Super Rugby, the Sevens, NRL, International Rugby, of course, that Rugby World Cup not too far away. We'll be covering it on the channel as well. Big long hair flanker, Portgaita. I think a year was all right, but it was a poor man's Peter Steph the toy. Yes, rugby, everyone says Edward, and give the yellow card to the ref, says Vinny. And can they at least lose with less than 14? It's going to be tricky because they're 5 meters out from their line, defending a scrum from the Waratahs. Joe Tamani's confused, but the rule is if you don't have an option as a replacement for your hooker, which in this case, because Ikanaveri's gone off injured, it means that Togi Otama's come out. Because Togi Otama's ended up with a yellow card, it means that they aren't actually able to use their group, or sorry, able to use their reserves again. Based on your bet, says Edward. I haven't got a bet on this game. I'm terrible at gambling. I think the only time I've ever had a bet on was when I got a bonus bet from the Super Rugby thingamabob. But $26 at the moment, the Fijian Drua are as the underdogs. This ref is bad. Jake Ball, Tommy Fury ref. Toilet brush, says Elon. And first I've ever get them Fiji, Uruguay is a dark horse, says Ed Vogel. And I haven't timed me out. He just doesn't live stream a lot. When he does, it's usually not him doing it, says Yanri. Are you sure? Because you seem to be like, the other day you were like, nah, I don't like him. Like, so surely that's not the only reason you don't like him is because he doesn't live stream a lot. It's been a long time since I watched your rugby live streams. I missed it. As I'm start watching it. Waratahs winning this one, says, Daz, welcome back, mate. Hope you are doing well. Hope you've been keeping well since, I'm trying to remember the last time we've seen you in the chat. It's been quite a few months, hasn't it? Now, scrum, uncontested, no pushing. Jake Gordon to the short side, Edmund drawing past, Jorgensen scores. And also, do you truly believe that a team like Georgia can actually qualify for the quarters in the Rugby World Cup, considering Wales' performances as of late? It's a tricky one because Georgia, don't get me wrong, they have improved drastically. And if they get themselves the win over the Fijian Drua, over Fiji, perhaps they've got a good chance, but they do have to beat Wales. That's the big one. What can we expect from George Ford? Says Ed Vogel. He's a decent player. He seems to be in and out of the English squad, isn't he, George Ford? But should go all right, I think. And all right, I'm off to bed. And Drew are learning each game that what counts, and hopefully all learning all learning turns into the wins. Yeah, exactly right. Like that first game went right down to the wire. They managed to snatch that victory in the jaws of defeat. This game, they've learned that the discipline in the second half is so important. They were pushing the Waratahs 10-10 at half time, and then the Fijians found themselves 17 points to 10 up. Now they find themselves as $26 underdogs up against the Waratahs side that now have themselves getting 5 points at the end of this one. And Edward has said to Vinny after he said he's off to bed, whatever, Vinny, you can't read, says Edward. Why can't he read if he's going to bed? I feel like it's a very weird comparison, Edward. In Scotland, Hammy, we need an update towards the World Cup. There's the snooze. And Scotland for the World Cup, they can do it. Tell you what, they're going to be a decent side in there. Them, Ireland, and South Africa all in the same group is going to be very entertaining stuff. And there goes my bet, says Cameron. Did you have the drawer or did you have it within 14? They can still get within 14. They just need to score again. Good hook, says the snooze. Also, it's been like a few months. Yes, been dealing with some rugby injuries. My phone broke, so I couldn't really watch YouTube. Hope you've also been doing well, man. I have been doing well. We've been live streaming over those last few months. You've been away. We've probably covered over 300 matches of rugby and cricket and whatnot. So voice is still working, so that's good news. But yeah, it's good to see you back. Now, Dowling out on the field. That is for Tane Edmund, who has gone off. Only the Tars certainly putting more pressure on. And I mentioned that their bench with Gamble and Harris could be the difference makers. And it seems like at this stage, they certainly are. Munt's still out on the field alongside Tete Tala. Nice run from the Drua, who currently seem a bit stagnant. Looks like also Osefo Masi might have hurt his ankle in the process. I don't know how many subs they do have left within 14. Says Cameron. That was a very flat ball. Crowd slightly asking for a 4 pass there. Fiji just aren't good enough, says Elon. But the thing is, like, when you look at their side, they've been together less than 2 years. Last year was their first Super Rugby competition, so really they've only played about 13 games as a side. And training is one thing, but being out there on the park's another. You just got to make sure that you keep on building that chemistry, and eventually, when that discipline starts to get a bit better, Fiji will find themselves with a few more wins. And yeah, I also saw you gain a lot of subs, man. I'm proud. It's good to be back, man. Says Daz there. Yeah, the channel's been growing very nicely. And yeah, we've got plenty more coming in the future. 14.5 cash, says God's Gift. How much do you got, Hamish? You got 5 hours to go today. I got 12 hours tomorrow, says Brandon. I don't think I've got that many. I think I've got 2 more hours tonight. And then after that, we will have maybe about 6 hours tomorrow, somewhere around there. Footy mentality really getting in the way. And see what happens, says Edward. Islanders or Wales or Pacifica who wins, says Elon. If those teams all played each other, depending on where the game is, would definitely depend on the result. Then commentary, says Edward. Going to be thrown in. Nicely taken by the Waratahs, who once again will be trying to march their way towards the try line. An effective weapon for them so far throughout this match has been our rolling maul. Has gone off the side. Another advantage. That's going to cost the Fiji maybe even another player. Might be playing with 12. Advantage. Going back for it again. I think the Fiji Drua will start doing well, but they don't have that squad yet, says Daz. And the thing is, having someone like Avnaya Habosi was massive for the Fijians. And then they gave him to Racing 92, who have used him once this year. I actually looked through all of their games. He's had 1 start and 1 game off the bench. That's that same match, as in like 1 combined. Also, the psychology at this level is foreign to the Draw, especially playing at home. The more they play at this level, the better they will be mentally. Exactly right. They're used to playing in a URC competition, or NRC, sorry, that they've been pretty successful in. Now, Super Rugby wise, there's a little bit more of the tactical side that goes into things. That's a great cross kick from the Waratahs. And Noah Kwanita Wasi goes in. There will be another try to the Waratahs. And unfortunately for the Drua, this scoreboard's going to start looking a lot worse. Maybe they're preparing Habosi. Yeah, but to play once in 4 months, like they've got plenty of other good options in their side. I think they've just signed him as injury cover, but it means that he doesn't get to play too much more rugby. Confidence controlled. And Warren Gatlin, in the meantime, been torturing kids in the fitness, laying the whip. Says Elon. The Force were around for years, did not do much. People say Drew suck after only 2 years. Says most exactly right. They've got time. Like they're locked in for 5 years, I believe. If it keeps on growing in the Pacific Islands like it is, due to these sides being added in, I'm sure that they will continue to be in the competition. Waste of money indeed, says Ed Vogel. And also, did you see Ramika Poihipi's fastest try Super Rugby in history? I did indeed, in 12 seconds. Kickoff from Damien McKenzie. A messed up pass, unfortunately, from Manu Paya. Straight into the hands of Ramika Poihipi. But now 6 minutes remain. Waratahs making the score still the same, 43 points to 17. The thing is the Fiji Drua doesn't really look like they have that experience that the other Super Rugby teams have, says Daz. Exactly right. Like, you look at, I always consider the Fiji Drua a little bit like the Highlanders. The reason I say that is because when you look through their side, yes, they've got a few international players, but overall, they haven't got a huge amount of those standout names that everyone's like, oh, yeah, I know him. Like with Vinaya Bossi, he became a household name after last year's competition. And then, like for the Fiji Drua currently, the most well-known player out there is probably Frank Lamani. maybe Revovo, but that's normally if you dig a little bit deeper into your Fijian Drua knowledge. Joe Tamani, Naveri, some of those guys like that, but they don't really have those massive, massive names. Imagine if they had the budget to sign like a Joshua Tuisova, someone like that, or a couple of those other brilliant overseas Fijian players, get them back playing for the drill would be absolutely fantastic. How do you get superstars to work together? Says Edward John. It's a good question, and it's all about building chemistry, finding that right combination. I mean, McKenzie 15, Geordie 12, Bodie 10, Richie Moonga on the bench, y'all. Says Elon. And also we have got who's going to be the top of the ladder this week. More than likely it will be either the Chiefs or the Blues. I think the Blues probably. I got a question for you, mate, says Dwayne. Go for it. And also Blues probably will be on top if they get the bonus point win against the Brumbies. Draw would need to sign forwards, not more wingers, even though he says must. That is also a good point. Getting those guys back. Lavani Botia. No, probably. I don't know whether he's still. Oh. How about someone like a Tuisui? Someone like that. Albert Tuisui, someone who goes brilliantly overseas, plays for the London Irish, I believe. I got a question for you, Hamish. Why are all the weekends games being played in Melbourne? It's the super round, but I don't really agree with it because Melbourne's one of the places out of everywhere that they could have gone that would have sold out the least tickets. Like it's a stadium that holds 30,000, they're struggling to get 5,000. And attendance for this game, they've probably got 10,000 and about 9,000 of them are Fijians. And expectation to win at home is a huge challenge, and energy seems to be expanded in the first half, trying to overplease the fans, and perhaps they will handle the away game better motivationally. Says Aropati. And Victoria only cares about Aussie rules because of the NRL games clashing with Super Rugby games. And thank you. It is worth fluent rugby. And also, we have got the get some beef up front, says Mus. Now, off the back, it's going to be a step from Frank Lamani. 3 minutes remaining in this contest. Can the Drua get another? I believe at this stage they won't be able to break it to get the bonus point away from the Waratahs, but they can certainly get into the 20-point margin. Sitting 30 metres out, Revovo. Nice inside ball. In fact, it's Tete Tala now goes off to a very talented number 7, Kitioni Salawa. Now, takes it down 22 metres out. And also we have got there the Canes are the team that the Chiefs used to be. The team that goes out there to be annoying and showy. And games played in Melbourne, says Nate. Now the ball is loose. It's a miscommunication from the Fijian Drua. Inside ball to Charlie Gamble. Now it looks like maybe the Waratahs thought they're going to be going back for the original knock on. It will be the scrum feed for the Tars. And now let these guys figure it out themselves. Leave the other Fijians playing in Europe, says Ropati there. And I guess the likes of a Langi, once he's back from injury, a few of those other guys, it's just about getting them game time, isn't it? That's the main thing. Just keep on getting matches under their belts, and it will only make them better. Please don't let the Tars put 50 on the Drua. And why isn't TKB playing for the Rebels? He used to be, or he could be a Wallaby. TKB. The only name I can think of is Andrew Callaway, but that's certainly not his nickname. I'm going to try and get a photo with the GOAT. Here's Xavier Brown, of course, looking for a photo with Michael Hooper. In that case, that is Xavier's GOAT, I should say. 2 minutes remaining. Mistakes form Fijian Drua. That's also one of the reasons they don't really win too many handling errors. And Fluent Rugby, baby. Beautiful NRL hosting games in Sydney and Brisbane. This weekend only Tars Reds home game in Melbourne. Says Nate. And Te Wera Kurbalo. Says Mus. And the Super Rugby weekend must be a massive loss maker for Super Rugby. I'm assuming Super Rugby is paying for all the travel. Yeah, like they're going to hardly break even, I wouldn't think. Like it's lucky they've got broadcasting deals because if anything, I get that they're trying to promote it in Melbourne. Why not have a super round in Fiji? Every game takes place from Latoka or somewhere in the Fijian Islands. And just get some people to the games. That's the main thing they need to do. And Te Wera Kurbalo, got the name over Gordon. Oh, from Noa Still Still trying to drive his way forward. My coverage is just cut out, which makes me concerned. Okay, it says that I have to select a plan. I'm logged in. So I have to sign in again by the looks of it for Sky Sport. Now this is the wrong time for it to do this. I have to quickly put in my email and my password. Here we go. And now I can continue watching. That was very weird. Looking forward to the World Cup. There's Edward there. What other matches you're streaming today? We are going to be doing the Sharks game versus the Stormers. It's the only other matchup till later on tomorrow when we are going to be doing the Sevens and also Super Rugby again. Now 1 minute remains. Goddard, nice short ball, going to be put down by Sue. And you're good, Amy. Australia is looking like the 90s. It'll be a massive, well, that would be massive playing in Fiji. A great idea, says Fleshton. Yeah, I don't understand why we go to Melbourne. Nothing against Melbourne. It's just, it's not the place that you're going to, like, the stadium behind me, as you can see, it's an NRL game. These stands, there's still gaps, but they're pretty much full. I look at there's probably about 200 people on that top stand where there's thousands in this picture. The stadium holds 30,000 and they are holding less than 10. And the Victorian Government and Tourism Board are KA. Okay, then. And Storm Stadium, Rugby, please, says Edward. Currently, we've got a stoppage. Edward, so not much happening in the game. Looks like the Waratahs might be actually slowing this down to take the 3 points to end the game. Draw still my team, says Bev. Yeah, see, they've still had some very good moments throughout this matchup. The Fijian Drua. They are just going to be waiting patiently for the full-time siren, and then Ben Donaldson will boot this one over. That will then make the end score in this contest 46 points to 17. So a good start to the match for the Draw. The first 45 minutes, you would have said they had a real good chance of making their way through. Then just seemed to go that little bit more downhill for them as the match progressed. And it should play in Wellington, seeing as they lost the Sevens and bring back the Bears and the maid outfits in the crowd, says Elon. Okay, I thought the game was in Fiji, says Ropati. Next week, they've got a big game. It's going to be the Crusaders taking on the Fijian Drua in Latoka. Absolutely brilliant game just around the corner for that one. Waratahs got a win for 5 and got him 50. Says Daz there, a solid game. Drua's next week, says Blues. Nate as well. And didn't know this fire would fight with fire too. Says the snooze. But Michael Hooper got a bit of a limp at the moment. He'll be happy to get that victory over the Fijian Drua. 46 points to 7. That gives the Waratahs a bonus point. Now let's boost them up just a little bit more on the table. So I should mention the next live stream that we have got, ladies and gentlemen. It will be the URC game between the Sharks and the Stormers. That is at 1:30 a.m. And then after that, we've got the Sevens tomorrow morning. Fiji taking on Great Britain. Still got discipline letting them down. Exactly right. Way too many penalties, too many handling errors in that second half, costing the Fijian Drua. And they'll have to look to improve that. And does it look like Hamish is in Fiji? Is Elon? Solid game Druas next week. There's Blues Nate. But nonetheless, thank you all very much for tuning in. If you did enjoy, be sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel. I will see you all for the next one, maybe in a couple hours, for the URC game, Sharks versus Stormers. But I will see you all for the next one.